keep me alive. All I see is the dark, but when you come out, I see the stars. There are so many stars, but when you shine, you burn my heart and set me up in flames. 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 Set me up in your light shines through the darkness, your light shines through the darkness, your light shines through the darkness of my heart. I can't look away. You burn into me. It's so I can't look away. You burn into me. You're so I need this fear to go, because it's all I know, and you cast it all. I need you near me now. The night is just so cold without your
I want my keys go. Then I want my keys going. I want my keys going. Did I want my keys going?
Today we are bringing you the conclusion of the Belong Arena Clash League of Legends Grand Final for the Spring Split 2019. My name is Stanley Greyheart Barker and this is Marit Chronicler Mewson.
And yesterday, the first game in this series, it didn't feel very close, did it, Stan? It was a absolute storm, to be quite honest. 20k gold up for the Portsmouth Pirates, and it felt like the London Lionhearts, they were really, really confident coming into this series, and that it just didn't show in terms of plays.
After the Pirates invasion, it felt like the Lionhearts ship was going to sink without a trace, but Game 2 was a different story, with the London Lionhearts showing great character and bouncing back in tremendous fashion.
And a really nice team fight composition combined with a split push that never really took off, and a lead that, while being really big in the team fights, couldn't find the early game impact that they kind of were looking for. Man, that in the end it was a 1 against 1, and unfortunately due to some technical difficulties we were unable to finish this series. But fortunately for you guys, we now get to finish it regardless here. It's a best of 3, the first 2 games have already been played, and it's the London Lionhearts. I think the pick and ban is going. I'm not entirely certain. I think we're going to get a new pick and ban as well, I assume, because we're working on a new patch now, where previously we were on the
I've not had that confirmed to me. I mean, to confirm, it's a best of 5 with the first 2 having been played, which means it now feels like a best of 3.
But that's a really important question, actually, because that could really change things up.
It could. Hopefully we'll get to find out. I'm sure as soon as we jump into Champs Select, that will be revealed to us. Yesterday, this game started multiple times, and it swung both ways through the various remakes that we had. At one point, it looked like the Pirates had the edge. We weren't unfortunately able to continue that, and then it felt like the Lionhearts were starting to look good with the first blood. The reality is, however, that game is now in the past, and regardless of whether we come in with the same picks and bans or not, it's all going to be starting afresh in Game 3.
And I think that it's important to talk a little bit about the patch, because previously we were playing on 9.7 on the tournament realm. A couple of big changes, though, to the champions that both of these teams feel comfortable. For example, we already saw T pick up the Fiora, and Fiora got buffed in 9.8, a lot of buffs on her riposte, making her a lot stronger. We also saw buffs to Sejuani and Cinderhulk in general, and that was the game that they were able to win from the Lionhearts. There was that Sejuani game. There was a game where Trulidon was a Cinderhulk jungler, he didn't fall behind early, and he was able to make a big impact.
Alrighty, so we are just waiting on the teams to get themselves into the game. As soon as that happens, we will be bringing you the full pick and bans, seeing whether or not we're replicating what we saw last night, or if we are going to be jumping into a complete fresh start this morning. Wow, honestly, I'm really excited for this, because last night we had so much energy, things were really hyping up after Game 2, and then unfortunately we had to deal with the lows of the dropouts. Right now I'm starting to get that energy back again. I was feeling a little tired this morning, having been up till about 1:30 like many of the players will have been as well, but now, you know what, starting to get that blood pumping through my veins again.
I'm not at all excited.
He's lying, he's Dutch, he holds that face so well.
That's really such a big life skill, Stan, because we talked about this before, and I feel like you'll be able to do exactly the same thing. Just keep a straight face, look into the camera, dead in his eyes, and wait for them to crack, not you. And it looks like he's doing it really well, so
I'm not excited.
I'm glad
I'm so
to
excited.
see that. I did learn something over the course.
You learned me
it was
well.
a little, but it was a vital life skill for a caster, I'd say. And it looks like there's a couple of technical difficulties players getting in.
We're perfectly used to that, so don't worry about it.
There's no network issues this time, so this is going to be solved rather quickly, and then we're finally going to get into the game and the series that we've been really looking forward towards, because it was so hard for us to call how this was going to go coming into it, with the Portsmouth Pirates being the clear favourites. But after the game number 2, the bounce back, and if the games that we see now resemble that, it's going to be amazing.
As we wait to throw into Champ Select, we do get to have a little look at 2 sides of the coin, what we might have to deal with here. Situation number 1, because we've jumped from 9.7 to 9.8, we may end up with a completely new pick and ban phase. If so, what might we see coming in? What are the important bans going to be? What maybe falls off in priority because of the nerfs and the buffs that we've seen? Or situation number 2, we end up with the same pick and ban phase, in which case, who is gaining an advantage? Because in 9.8, you're looking at things like that Cinderhulk change, which has actually come through now, so all of a sudden you're getting the extra clear speed. Which of those 2 situations benefits each team the most?
Going off on the top of my hat, we have Hackerim in top lane, then we have a jungle
Kindred.
The jungle Kindred, we have a Vladimir in the mid lane, and we have
Sona Tarek.
Sona Tarek in the bot lane, and then on the other hand, we have the Skarner in the jungle. We have the it was a split push.
Xerath in the mid lane.
Xerath in the mid lane.
Yorick in the top lane.
Yorick in the top lane. There we go. And it was the Vayne and the Lulu getting picked up there.
That's correct.
So
Yes. Well
Vayne,
done.
Lulu, sorry.
Top job.
Oh, thank you.
What a guy.
It's my job, so I'd like to think that I do an all right job at it.
You do.
Thank you.
Most of the time.
Blade the Rune King, a little bit nerfed.
Yes.
I needed to
certainly affects Vayne.
Yeah, that's rough for the Vayne. I think besides that, no one else in the game is supposed to build Blade of the Ruined King. You know, we don't see a kill.
Or Kindred.
Kindred can go for it, but it's not standard. Like, it's an option, but I don't think they need it.
One thing we saw the other day as the game was starting to progress a little longer was that the Kindred seemed to be opting into the potential Warrior enchant rather than, I was about to say Devourer, that's not a thing anymore, but we're looking at the attack damage rather than the attack speed for Kindred, so perhaps slightly different priorities coming in. And now we get to find out what we are looking at. The Thresh should be unsurprising to anybody who's been following the series so far. That has been banned every single game by the Portsmouth Pirates.
And I'm thinking that we're getting the same pick and ban based on what I'm seeing thus far, or they just haven't switched up the strategy. That remains to be seen. And I think that if we go with the exact same draft, I'd give it to the Portsmouth Pirates yesterday. I still would. I think that the buff for the Skarner is really big, but the nerf to the Vayne should kind of offset that, because for Vayne it's going to be a lot harder in the lane, and against a rough lane like Tarek, 100 gold can actually make a big difference, right? It's going to influence your back timers, and that can make it a little bit more awkward for you, because Blade the Ruined King is such a big moment for Vayne. It's where she goes to being an actual champion, and once Rage Blade is finished, that's when she can really start bringing the pain.
One thing that's clear is that none of the champions that were played in that Game 3 have been banned out just yet. Instead, what we're seeing are champions, especially on the side of the London Lionhearts here, where they're banning away things that the Pirates played and played well. So that's the reason that we had the bans yesterday, and it looks like we're going to be getting the same thing, and it will all be confirmed very shortly. There it is, the Hecarim in the top lane. We are looking almost certain to get a repeat of Game 3's picks from yesterday.
Yeah, and their first pick right away, so I think we're going to get there. This is the confirmation that we're going for the exact same draft, because they just go for it rapidly. That means that, based on this, yesterday I gave the edge to the Portsmouth Pirates. Still the case here. I think there's a window for the London Lionhearts. They have the Skarner, where they can make some big plays with that, but perhaps even more importantly, let's talk a bit about the dynamic between these two teams. So, if you missed the series yesterday, the Portsmouth Pirates absolutely demolishing game number one. They're able to get an early lead and then just repeatedly build upon that, and really drive that advantage home. And they were really good at that. But then in the second game, we saw that simultaneously, if they don't get a lead, these teams are as evenly matched as possible, right? Like, if the Portsmouth Pirates don't get that early tempo, that momentum, the London Lions are actually really good at negating any pressure and making sure that they are able to consistently hold off until they reach a point where they can teamfight. So I really like this drafting for the Pirates as well, because what they're saying is, well, we get some early game with Sona Tarek and the Kindred, but Sona Tarek is generally strong, and our team fights are really, really spooky now.
You mentioned Sona Tarek there. It's one of the things that a lot of people are surprised didn't get any kind of nerf coming into 9.8. It's still going to have that strength and oppressiveness both in the early game and also with the sustain that it offers later on. We've touched yesterday on the fact that both Tarek and Kindred bring that amazing survivability through the Lamb's Respite and the Cosmic Radiance, and it makes team fights so very hard for the London Lionhearts unless they get that crucial impale dragging people out of the safety.
Dragging them out or just blowing them up, because I do feel like the London Lionhearts have kind of a pressure on them, as I said before. There's going to be a window where Tarek Sona, or rather where Dynogen is so strong, right, because he's the Yorick, that he's able to draw enough pressure to him. They can finally beat Hecarim in a 1v1, because I think that's going to be tough, especially if you have a force behind. But if he doesn't, able to stay in that 1v1, able to outsplit push him, then creating enough pressure for the rest of his team to maybe get a pick, maybe get a skirmish, catch them in a rotation, because there is a lot of CC and upfront burst and survivability for the Vayne, but you need to actually just find someone and kill them really quickly before there is an opportunity for the Portsmouth Pirates to sustain through it, because if that happens in an extended team fight in a 5v5, which we saw that the London Lionhearts can do, they shouldn't be able to win them, right? Like, with these compositions going into the mid to late game, you shouldn't be able to beat Crescendo, Onslaught of Shadows, and Heat Up Lake all being used together. But the Portsmouth Pirates have been favouring those team fights, and now the question to me is, the London Lions, we know that you can team fight, but can you also execute a comp like this that is a lot harder to find the timing window with?
I don't want to dwell too much on the games, Mal, that have been remade, but the fact is that this has happened a few times. We've seen different things going on. We've seen Hecarim solo killing the Yorick. We've seen fights in the jungle, especially with Kindred looking for the invade on Toscana. And the reality is that even though that's not going to be canon as this series goes forward, it is going to be etched in the minds of these players, and they're going to have the ability to learn, to adapt, to find a way to do, potentially play better and play to either those strengths or weaknesses as this game goes on. So far, across all the remakes we've had, we've never seen any kind of proactive play coming out of either team. The Pirates were known for grouping early, trying to find themselves a quick first blood. They've not really done that in any version of Game 3. As we come into the Game 3 that hopefully is going to be the one that really matters and finally counts, will we see a change?
Three timelines, right? First one was in the first time that Game 3 was played, where there was a really early invade from Shaven Tortoise, and then they were in a really commanding lead early on, and then you could see the Portsmouth Pirates immediately going back into kind of how they played game number 1, and then the second edition of the game number 3, we saw that again. They also need that early kill. They need that early pressure, because if they don't find that, the game pages is so much slower.
Yeah, and here we go. We are going to be able to get ourselves into Game 3 for what feels like the 1000th time, but this is the one that matters.
We're actually going to be able
the
to see
team that wins this game will find themselves at match point in this best of 5 series. Once again, this is the grand final of the Belong Arena Clash League of Legends Spring Split. These are the two teams who, if you didn't manage to catch us yesterday and find out about the amazing backstory that they found, they both came out of the same group. Just like Fnatic and IG, who were in the World Championship final, these two teams faced each other in groups. In groups, the Portsmouth Pirates took the win. It was a 2-1 best of 3 series. But that one loss is the only one the Portsmouth Pirates have had through the whole split until last night, where they dropped one of 2 games against the London Lionhearts. What happened at the World Championship now? Fnatic won the group, IG bounced back and took the final. The London Lionhearts are going to hope to repeat that story here.
And you know, Stan, we love ourselves some predictions. We've done this yesterday, but it's a new day, it's a new patch, it's the same draft. Who are you going to give it to?
I honestly don't remember what I said about this yesterday. I probably said different things for different remake versions, but I am going to go out on a limb. And you know what? I've got my Bilgewater badge. I think I'm feeling a bit piratical today.
I got to go with the Portsmouth Pirates as well. I think that there is definitely a version of this game in which the London Lionhearts win, but based on this draft, I got to give the edge to the Portsmouth Pirates, because what we've seen so far is they know how to team fight and they know how to play good early game. With a comp like this, if you get behind early game, it's going to be super oppressive. And I have seen the London Lionhearts team fight well, but what we haven't seen yet is if they can execute a comp like this that has a lot smaller timer window, where you need to either let the Vayne get really big or get some consistent split push pressure going. It's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. I'm hoping we go to Game 5 here, but perhaps most importantly, I want to see who takes Game 3 here.
Alrighty, we're going to be jumping onto the Rift in just a few moments. Teams are almost loaded in. I can feel the pressure all the way from absolutely. I can feel the pressure that must be on them from all the way over here. I mean, yesterday we could see the players on the stage. Now they're having to play it in the tournament zone. They're not even close to us. I can't see their faces, but I sure as hell can imagine them. And right now, this is the moment we have waited hours for. It is the London Lionhearts starting to storm their way out into the Rift. Now we see the Portsmouth Pirates, and it looks like yet again it's just going to be a split divide of the teams as they look to cover the river.
And this is a question coming into this game is, what do we really expect? Like, what do the teams expect of each other is perhaps even more important, as for the 4th time in a row, we see Regan and Ollie just stand.
Can we just have a highlight reel of this with the different skins?
It is a different skin every time for Ollie, isn't it?
He's just absolutely loving to get into play on the turret.
They have League unlocked currently, so they actually can choose whatever skin they feel like, regardless of whether or not they actually own it. Which is, to be fair, I would make great use of that, as Ollie is doing here, and the two of them just waddling back and forth. But neither of them is really going to go for a player, because I don't think anyone really feels like that is a good call. We see the Spire being taken in the top side by T, and like you said last time, Dynogen can't afford to fall behind, and there was a solo kill in the second timeline. And now the real question is, are we going to get one in this one?
All right, we're looking at a fairly safe start coming in from both teams. One of the things that has changed multiple times across all our alternate timelines is where the mark for Kindred has appeared. Sometimes it's appeared favourably for her, other times Skarna's been able to clear it away. So we've got to keep our eyes on those scuttle crabs as they spawn to see just which one Shaven Tortoise is most going to want. And now we are going to just transition over into the mid lane as we see the nice early CS trades. Xerath obviously going to have the poke potential. Kindred hovering around the bot side of the map, potentially going to be looking for the early gank onto Yarrow and Regan. The Yarrow has tumbled forward. He might have to flash himself out of this one. Here comes the Kindred. He gets polymorphed. The flash is forced out of Yarrow. Going to keep himself alive, but burning a summoner spell. The heal was also used by Lulu defensively to save the ADC.
Just want to make sure that Yarrow doesn't get attacked too low there, so that a flash can kill him. And we see the mark spawning in the bot side, so that is going to be really good for Shaven Tortoise. Already the flash and the heal gone in the bot lane. Yarrow and Regan going to have a tough time here. Need to really respect the jungle pressure. But we see Truladorn. He's not going for the scuttle. He's moving on T.
Alright, we're continuing to see this poke going down in the bot lane. Yarrow and Regan, of course, finding themselves in a little bit of a disadvantage. Hecarim is going to be able to run himself to safety despite Skarna's appearance, but with Kindred currently placed near the mid outer turret, I don't think there's any chance that Skarna's going to miss out on the experience coming from that scuttle.
No, because we see Shaven Tortoise opting to go for his own blue buff first. I think that's a good call. Truladorn will be able to pick up the scuttle, and one thing that is kind of interesting is because of the existence of Shaven Tortoise, or the emergence of Shaven Tortoise in that bot lane, is that it actually took a really long time for Radona and Ollie to hit level 2. Just now Radona's hit it and Oliver has just dinked at this very moment. So that means that Yarrow and Regan are actually able to put out a lot of pressure, but this, of course the sustain that is the problem on dealing with this lane. If you don't all-in Sona Taric and do so consistently, and the Lula doesn't really allow you to do that, it is so difficult for you to really get any sort of damage to stick, because they will sustain for pretty much everything. We see that T a little bit lower in terms of health, but he has the Ignite as a big equalizer, so Dynagen always needs to respect that.
I don't think it's possible for me to understate just how much time these two teams spent on stage yesterday. The tiredness that must be a factor. So far it's Shaven Tortoise who seems to be finding himself as an early bird as he looks to get the worm that is Dinojan, but he dashes himself straight into Yorik's walls, and that's nice safety play by Dinojan.
And Shaven Tortoise isn't at the level yet where his Q has so many levels in it that he can just tumble immediately, even in with the support of Wolf there. And that means that Dynagen is going to be pushed into the turret here, maybe taking a little bit more poke as Shaven Tortoise goes. That has the blue buff anyway. And it's a little bit of a rest. Maybe they want to get for a plate. That's a little bit greedy. We see Truladorn move towards the bot lane. And if Sona Taric can get killed early on, that'd be really good. But a ward falls that plan.
Yep, Truladorn just going to clear the vision out, has that sweeper available to him. Going to increase his vision score, but not going to be able to help increase his team's kill score right now.
And I love the little feint there from Truladorn, slowly moving towards the bot side to try and let them think, and a Divinus is going to be able to get out of there. They're trying to make them think they was going for Krugs. We saw pings going down, we saw Oliver rotate, but Troubadour just went for a feint and then picks up the Raptors there. But his own Krugs will be lost to Shaven Tortoise.
Divinus did get hit by the slow coming in from Xerath, but it must be so satisfying when you use that pool and you see the stun floating right over your head and you keep yourself safe.
And now I'm worried for Dynajan because he's still in the lane. He's pushed up fairly far, and we see Shaven Tortoise now. He's at the red side, and he will be making his way towards that top lane. They haven't been tracking him, and if Dynajan doesn't back soon, he's going to get taken out here.
Shaven Tortoise coming around the back, slash Dynajan is going to have the flash available to him, but just how he's getting out of this one, I am not sure. He's trying to run his way back down the river towards his Xerath. The flash, remember, is available, whereas it's not going to be for T because he's running Teleporting Ignite, but it is the Ignite itself that picks up first blood in this series. The Ocean Dragon is going to be started in response.
And the problem is that he can't re-engage there. Like, if Dynajan knows that, I think could sense that the jungler was there. Shaven Tortoise, of course, with a really nice flank. And the damage from Chiruzu, though, is really impressive to me. Having a great game does from the Xerath. And this Ocean Drake being picked up actually is a really, really big difference because Xerath is mana hungry, so is the Yorick, so is the Lulu, and an early Ocean Drake is going to make that lane just a little bit more comfortable. And the speed, the tempo that we want to see from the Portsmouth Pirates, they've been unable to find thus far, and that bodes well for the London Lionhearts.
There was the slightest of gold leads in favour of the London Lionhearts before that first blood, however now it has swung as a 400 gold lead in favour of the Portsmouth Pirates. They do find themselves down that dragon that you were just talking about, however, and now we do do see yet again Shaven Tortoise are turning his attention to the top side of the map. Dino Jan did not use his flash to try and get away from that first blood. It probably would have been pointless because the E, the charge from T, would have followed in. The Ignite would still have gone down and Dino Jan would have been summonerless. Instead, he's got himself a bit of safety.
And the issue is that if Dino Jin gets neutralized, the rest of the composition from the Lionhearts also does, because they are reliant on having a good sprint push pressure. There's already a 13 CS advantage, some nice arrest from Yero here.
Yeah, the nice condemn onto the wall, Rhydona taking a bit of poke, but that is a Sona with a Taric alongside, and they're going to be just fine. Someone who's not fine, though, is Divinus, who gets himself stunned up, not able to pull the final bit of damage coming in from Chirutsu, who just gets a free kill in mid.
And a 1v1 kill is just to kind of pick me up the London Lionhearts need. Dynagen looking for the cancel but unable to find it. T probably going to teleport back to lane soon to make sure that he doesn't drop any plays, because we've now reached level 6. Yorick has a Sheen and he can chew through turrets fast already. It's only going to get worse as the game progresses. I do feel like if the Ignite is up, Dynagen can't really go for a 1v1, but as long as he keeps good vision, he's able to keep up the pressure here. I feel like now he's going to be a little bit more confident in this lane, as there is now actually the pressure that you have the Yorick for. And looking at the items, you already see Merc threats built here for Trulodorn. They can't re-engage here though.
The condemn lands onto Rhydona, but Yaro's in all sorts of trouble, getting stunned by Oleron, having to flash follow from Shaven Tortoise as he looks to try and get the kill. It's gonna be Yaro running for his life, using the flash, using the barrow, keeping himself alive. Beautiful support play from Regan, perfectly timing the shields and the heal.
And once again, the timing from Shaven Tortoise is so good. Every time we see him tumble forward, immediately it feels like Shaven Tortoise makes his way towards that lane, and they're going to stay here, which seems greedy, but the sustain that you have with the Lulu is actually kind of okay, and they will be able to haul off the plates as well here, and the sliver of health, thanks to the heal, the barrier, and just the shield from Lulu, means that they weather this gank, and that is essential, because if Fane falls behind, it's also a really bad time for the London Lionhearts. But now, they're starting to be able to deal with this pressure, but this is an overextension from Dinojan.
Onslaught of Shadows is used, the dash forward, the easy kill for T. He has now found himself 2 solo kills against the top laner of the London Lionhearts. We've seen so much proactive play from Shaven Tortoise in almost every single lane. We're still waiting for that first impale from Trulodorn.
And he's been looking for it. The Predator is available, but he hasn't been able to actively find it. And it's also kind of with looking at these lanes, it's really hard to get an appeal on a Hakarim, because as Hakarim, he's just going to run away from you, especially considering your Skarner. The bot lane have a rough go at the Sonataric lane, and Shaven Tortoise, besides some visits to Dynagen in the top side, he's really been playing a lot around bot side. He's been there every single time. They've had a hard time tracking him, and that's making it a lot harder for him to get any plays. But here's the Predator getting charged.
Divinus uses his pull, steps away from the Skarner. Predator is going to go on cooldown. Impale still not used.
There's not much you can do there, I think.
Chirutsu's poke is so good, by the way.
It really
like,
is.
he waits the pull out so well, keeps on forcing that W out of Divinus, and eventually just able to get the damage down and continue the poke. And the Ocean Dragon helping so very much with that.
And now I'm starting to think that this is going to be a question of whether Chirutsu or T can put the team on their back in a better way, because Dinogen getting solo killed twice now, because the first, yes, the pressure from Tortoise was there, but he's not respecting the Ignite timers here that we see from T, because every single time that Ignite is up, it's been a kill thus far. If the Triforce gets finished by T, and Dynagen is really far behind as he is right now, he's going to not have any pressure, meaning that either he needs to just play safe or get something done. Trulodorn here tries to walk in, but they play so safe, they're in a safe positioning, and I'm not loving the timing here, because the wave is actually pushing in, and if you waited just a little bit longer, they would have been fine. But it feels like they're a little bit greedy. They want to go for something, they want to force something, and it doesn't work out for them.
We did just get a little look there at the gold leads, and we can see the biggest one across the map, unsurprisingly, is in favour of Hecarim. He's 1,000 gold up on the Yorick. Meanwhile, however, Skarner is lurking. The Predator is going to be available, probably going to get charged any time now. And if the Impale comes in onto either Oliver or Rhydona, that could mean their doom. In the end, though, they find themselves a bit of safety. That control ward really perfectly placed.
And I thought maybe he was going to take the blast cone, take the other route, but he spots a little bit later, but that is not the case. And Trulodorn not having any impact yet. Now the Skarner, the Impale is such a big cooldown. It's so essential for making it work. And we see Chirutsu is exceptional positioning. Make sure that he's not getting taken down there.
Yero going bold. The crescendo is used. The wild growth in return. Yero not quite able to get one more proc of the silver bolts onto Rhydona. But finally that aggression that we really need to see coming out of the London Lionhearts bot lane. Getting the heal out of Oliver. Flash is still available for him, but not for the Sona.
And we see that Regan is almost getting his own heal back. Fortunately for the London Lionhearts, that Kindred mark was just gone at the wrong time. As we see another ride of the Arcane. Is it enough?
Divina so very low.
It's not enough. They're not going to take him down. There's an Infernal Dragon here as well, and I'm loving the pressure that we see coming out from Yarrow and Regan. And
they're gaining such priority for themselves.
And more importantly, that's really good. I will not mind to see a solo dragon attempted here. Not right now from Trulodon, because Shaper is in the area, and he's not wanting to let that happen. As we now see the rotation there, you can't give up this Infernal Dragon as either team here, really.
Let's see whether or not any kind of plays can be made. Kindred has dashed over the wall because the dragon has been started off, but now Shaven Tortoise in such a bad position. He gets himself immediately caught by the Impale. The Lamb's Respite will keep him alive for a while. Now the Cosmic Radiance is being channeled, but I think Shaven Tortoise is going to be dead long before that's going to hit. Trulodon now chasing down the Sona, chasing down the Tarek Rhydona. One more proc and Silver Bolts will do it. That's a double kill for the Vayne. The flash over the wall from Ollie. Trulodon still looking for the chase. Not going to go any further because of the turret, but the Infernal Dragon surely will be secured. Hecarim and Vladimir have other ideas. The Onslaught of Shadows. This is the 2-kill Hecarim doing what he can, finding Trulodon. The heal is used. The Wild Growth is there. Vladimir throws down the ultimate, and Divinus picks up a kill onto Trulodon. The Infernal Dragon is being left alone now as the pony comes down and changes the face of the game.
Teleport comes through from the Sonar. I don't think either team really wants to go. Dynagen is left alone in this lane, and that's something that you're always happy with. But it feels so greedy that Charuzo is basically solely trying to keep the Dragon leashed, as opposed to staying with the rest of his team, giving the opportunity to hard engage their by T. And in the end, a gold lead for the London Lionhearts, but that Infernal Drake is going over to the Portsmouth Pirates.
While all this is happening, we do see Dynagen, who do not have the teleport available, just continuing to push in the top lane.
I would not be surprised if he's able to push it up in the next wave, and T does have the teleport available, never mind, so that should be fine, is used there. Teleport advantage will be available for Dynagen, and this is kind of what we saw coming, right? Like these team fights, we see here how well Yarrow does. Once again, he's the carry for his team. It's a 2-kill Vayne, and there's the crescendo.
Crescendo comes in, Yarrow tumbling, trying to keep safe. The polymorph onto Shaven Tortoise is going to stop the damage coming through, but not for long. Kindred getting the shutdown onto the Vayne, forcing the flash out of Regan, who uses that shield. One more attack from Rhydona ought to do it, and that's going to be a kill for the Sona, who flashes into the wall, takes a turret shot, but it's not going to matter. Rhydona getting to safety. 2 kills in the bot lane for the Portsmouth Pirates.
Now the goal is dead even, but an Infernal Drake was still secured. A big shutdown there on Yarrow, who wasn't able to stay alive. If the Wild Growth might have been available, he would have lived. We do see that Trulodon is going for the Rift Herald here, in conjunction with the Rift Scuttler being taken on the bot side. Divinus, he keeps getting taken so low.
That final shot at the right arm of the Arcane is exactly what Charuzu needed to find. He now has 2 solo kills against the Vladimir.
And with the Rift Herald as well, and Charuzu coming up so big, I'm starting to be more and more positive about the chances for the London Lionhearts in this game, because the team fights are going to remain scary, but if their carries are getting this fed, and you leave Dynagen alone for just a second, they can make some big plays here.
So the Herald is picked up, which is good news for the London Lionhearts. Good news for the Pirates, however, because it is post 14 minutes, no more plating to be taken. Bad news, though, for the Pirates is they only managed to take 2 turret plates in the entire time of that first 14-minute section of the game, whereas the side of the Lionhearts found 8 of those plates, and that is why they have themselves a slight gold lead, despite the kill disadvantage.
And being even in gold in this situation, I think is rather good for. It's not a really strong preference for either of these teams, as T has not the doesn't have the ignite available, so I don't expect to see an action. Just a lot of trading back and forth.
T has already used the E. If he gets himself caught out by the Impale, this could be trouble. Chilling Smite gonna land onto the pony, who is pulled back. The dash is stopped, and now we see Dynagen with the damage. The Onslaught of Shadows is much more damaging, though, and despite the Maiden joining the fight, it is going to be Trulodon left to run, having seen his top laner die.
And the synergy there not really clicking between Dynagen and Trulodon, missing too many skill shots, and because of that getting punished heavily. And this is the scary thing about the Hecarim. You need to be on point here. The Onslaught of Shadows, so much burst. Dynagen dying with a flash still available, and that's a great play coming out from T, the Triforce, and that's going to be first turret blood.
There's no way on earth that the Pirates should have got the first turret, given the plates that the Lionhearts have picked up. Meanwhile, yet another stun landing from Charuzu. This one onto Shaven Tortoise. One mark is going to hit onto Charuzu. He takes a bit of damage, but look at Shaven Tortoise's health. Having to use Lamb's Respite just to keep himself alive. We now see the stun being thrown down. The right of the Arcane is here. 1 shot going to miss, 2 shots going to miss, 3 shots. That one catches, but it's just not quite enough damage. The final shot going just wide. Trulodon looking for the pickup, but Charuzu with the snipe. Now Divinus going in, throwing down the Hemoplate, doing what he can. A lot of damage going onto the Zeref, who's left to run. Trulodon still continuing the chase, however. Do you know that Zeref's not with you, my friend?
It looks like he does. T was also making his way there with the Ignite available, and Trulidun decides the better of it. But Chiruzu coming up so incredibly huge here repeatedly for the London Lionhearts. And this Rift Tower, we saw it getting taken early. Yes, there's no plates, but a bot lane tower would be great for the London Lionhearts here, as it would give them more control of the bot side of the map, while Dynogen, being left alone here and no teleport available for T, is going to take it. But T, that means he's at the bot side.
Here comes the Hecarim, immediately targeting Yarrow. Perfectly timed condemn, but the Onslaught of Shadows will come through. The Cosmic Radiance is channeled. No damage coming on to any members of the Portsmouth Pirates, but the teleport is here. The Cosmic Radiance has expired, and soon we might see some of the Pirates expiring. Rhydona trying to dash away. Dinojan coming in, putting down that wall. Rhydona knocked up. The stun is going to land onto Yarrow, but he still picks up his kill onto Rhydona. Kill score equalised. Gold equalised. Now here comes Divinus. Can he turn this one around? Xerath is lurking. The right of the Arcane is not available quite yet. However, if this continued push is here, we will see Xerath able to push onto the mid lane as well.
Shaver Tortoise has picked up his mark, but not part of the Fiesta in bot lane. A really well done play. I thought that teleport was going to be too late, but thanks to the flash and the cage, Dynogen was able to pick up a kill. And now Shaven Tortoise, Chiruzu is so on point with the skill shots, but a 2 against 1. I don't think he can win that.
Proto Belt, but forcing his face straight in to the stun. Now the flash gets Chiruzu over to the blast cone.
He tried to cancel it.
Oh man, that's a feel-bad moment, but it is going to be Chiruzu getting to safety. Both of those mid laners using their flashes in that trade.
I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the things happening in this game because there's so much action. 1-in-1 against Drakes, even kill scores, a slight goalie for the Lionhearts, but there is so much going on there, and I really feel like this is anyone's match to take. Yarrow is big, Chiruzu is big, and then it's T who really has a lot of the goal for the Portsmouth Pirates, so that means that in a 1v1 lane, Dynogen is going to have a hard time, but that's not how they're playing this. They're just keeping Dynogen aggressive in that lane while simultaneously trying to contest these objectives, but this is really greedy with no teleport and Dynogen. They can't take this.
Absolutely not. True Dawn is going to have to flash away from the Onslaught of Shadows, and this second Infernal Dragon looks like it is bound to belong to the Portsmouth Pirates, but Dynojan is continuing to get as much as he can in the top lane. That's going to be the Ride of the Arcane yet again, picking up a kill onto Chiruzu. For Chiruzu onto Divinus. That means
Chiruzu
that now the turnaround is complete. That is a 4 versus 4 going on. Infernal Dragon is going to go over. No, it's not. The poke is still continuing. Shaven Tortoise is still waiting on the side. Meanwhile, Dynojan is just free hitting for days in the top lane. He's still got the Eulogy of the Isles. The Maiden's still doing what he can. T has had to go and counter push that. Shaven Tortoise has gone in. He's looking for the steal. Instead, he gets himself caught out. It's a smite contest, and it goes over to the Skarner, and that is going to be a big pickup for the London Lionhearts, and I believe they even get a kill onto the Kindred as well. Everything falls into place, and it's all on the back of that man Chiruzu.
We're not going to see Xerath again in this game. Or we're going to see him in this game because he's doing
not in this series.
But we are never going to see that Xerath given to Chiruzu again, because he is single-handedly being able to keep the London Lionhearts in this fight. The amount of poke that he's able to do there is simply disgusting. Divinus tanks a couple skill shots too many, and we're now reaching a point where yes, Sona Tarkas could sustain, but it doesn't matter if Chiruzu does so much damage that he can burst someone like a Vladimir down before we've reached a point where they can really make something work. Now the Portsmouth Pirates still have an amazing team fight comp. In a 5v5 they can get a lot done.
Oh!
But look at that!
What the holy heck was that? Rhydona takes 1Q, the right of the Arcane comes in, and the 6-kill Xerath with Morellonomicon and Luden's Echo is obliterating anyone it spots. I have no words more than that.
There's nothing that they can do.
A moment of silence for Sona.
Chiruzu is so fed here, and the Xerath has been working out great, and it's not something that you traditionally think of when you think of something that counters this composition, but the amount of long-range pressure is absurd. But T is really fed, has Ignite, has Onslaught of Shadows, and this is a greedy Baron here.
Oliver does take a little bit of poke, unsurprisingly, from that man Chiruzu. The Baron down considerably low. It's down to 2,000 health. Shaven Tortoise is waiting on the wings. He goes in against the steal. Now he uses the Lamb's Respite, keeping himself alive. How many Baron buffs can the side of the Portsmouth Pirates find? That's a beautiful crescendo, catching on to 4 members. T manages to get the kill onto Yarrow, but look at Chiruzu. He's on the outside of the pit, throwing down the snipes. He's only able to pick up the 1 kill onto Shaven Tortoise, though, and we see the London Lionhearts lose 3 members and the Baron buff.
And this is a 50-50 Baron that you should never take as the London Lionhearts. There goes your lead. You give the push over to the Portsmouth Pirates, and this is the problem with Sona Tarek. They're not great at sieging, but if you give them a Baron buff, they're going to do expertly. And it pains me to see, because the London Lionhearts, too over-ambitious, go for the play, go for the big purple objectives that we've seen so many teams fall victim to. and they lose their lead. They're going to lose their turrets. They're still in this game, but that was a moment that never should have happened.
It really shouldn't. I mean, the London Lionhearts have got to feel terrible at this point. You know, having waited so long for this game to happen, to get themselves into a lead, and then to have the Baron Steel coming in. Like you say, it was greediness. There was no need to contest.
Not only are you taking a Baron against a Karf or against a Vladimir Hakarim Sona, we saw a Crescendo hitting 3-man there, we saw a Hemo Blake, we saw the onslaught of Shadows, but perhaps most importantly, Trulidon was 2 levels down while that was happening. You can't go for a 50-50 smite against the Kindred when you're 2 levels down.
Honestly, my heart is really filled with sadness that we don't get to see this on the main stage, because there was a great crowd out watching last night who stuck with us for so long, who don't get to see this game live in person. However, that sadness is overwhelmed by the joy of how incredible this series has been. Game 1 admittedly just completely went to the Pirates, the way the Lionhearts fought back, and now this super close Game 3 that in my eyes can still go either way. What a tremendous conclusion whatever happens in this series is going to be to the Belong Arena clash.
We have 10-stack Mage Eyes on Chorizo, who hasn't died a single time in this game yet. We have Yarrow now with the Rage Blade finish. That's a huge power spike for the Vayne. And Shaven Tort is getting tagged there.
The slow is going to land. The wall is not going to stop him. However, he hops himself to safety. Lamb and Wolf dancing themselves away, getting as much gold from these turrets as they can, courtesy of this Baron buff.
A lot of pressure in the top lane. T trying to go for Yarrow. That's ambitious though.
That's going to be Yarrow immediately turning around with the Wild Growth on top, forcing the onslaught of Shadows. The Condemn is still going to hit T into the wall, but there's no follow-up to be had. Yarrow deciding not to attempt any kind of flash after the Hecarim. Probably a smart decision. Managed to get the ultimate out of him, and that was pretty good.
I actually, the more I think about it, that flash, if he knew the Condemn hit, I'm 99% certain he would have flashed, because a 700 gold shutdown on the Hakarim would have been so big here for Yarrow. Yes, flash is a huge cooldown, but the main thing is that the Onslaught of Shadows was used and they had no vision over the wall, so they didn't know that hit, because if Vayne flashes after him, if Yarrow goes for it, he will most certainly blow him up. And now it's still so even here. The gold lead is negligible. Neither team really getting an advantage, and it's these team fights that we need to see now. And it is something that based on the composition, the London Lionhearts should have a harder time here, but they're executing this comp so incredibly well. It's really just been the Baron call that's been the big mistake this game. About
15 minutes ago, as we started to see the early kills coming through, Chronicler, you said that it looked like this game was going to be on T and Chirutsu to carry those teams. Those two summoners are now 6-0-1 on their respective champions.
Even up the Drakes.
And look at this. Perfectly synchronized everything right now. Okay, there's 1 kill difference. The turrets are the same. There's 1,000 gold difference. This game could not be any closer if you wanted it to be. And now Yarrow has got himself a bit of a power spike as well. The Rage Blade is complete on the Vayne. He's got the Wild Growth coming in from the Lulu, who's already got the Ardent Sensor completed. Even though Yarrow hasn't got the kills, perhaps, that you look at on Chirutsu, there is no doubt that he is a really, really significant threat.
And the pickup of the stopwatch on T is important, because it gives him the possibility to hard engage with Onslaught of Shadows, especially if Starrick's Gate's also finished, without getting blown up in a split second, without really drawing too much fire from Yarrow, because we see if Yarrow gets left alone, yes, the Portsmouth Pirates have a scary team fight comp, but he will single-handedly carry those fights. We know that he can do this. We've seen him do it so many times, and this is always going to be a win condition. But thus far, I haven't seen any really big impales yet. We, of course, the top lane play where I feel like it should have turned the other way, but instead they lost first turret blood. And the London Lionhearts, they showed a couple of these mistakes yesterday as well. And I was hoping that they were able to fix them in the course of the game, but it looks like they aren't. But perhaps most importantly, they don't give up. They play around their carries, and Chirutsu and Yarrow are showing up big time here.
And that stopwatch that's been picked up, as well as giving a bit of safety to T now, is probably going to become a Guardian's Angel not too long in the future. And if you think it's hard to have killed Hecarim so far, well, you can take him down once, but you're going to have to do it again. He's going to jump right back into the fight, healing up using his W and the Conqueror. That is a mighty, mighty beast.
And the Kindred now building towards, already there's a recurve bow, Black Cleaver and Warrior's Chinnis as well. And that is going to put out a lot of damage, because as we said previously, Kindred is really the only consistent sort of AD damage here. Yes, Hakarim is of course doing a lot, but it's not really the consistent burst or the consistent AD that you're looking for, which Kindred does provide, although her range is fairly short and she's not going for a full, you know, we have seen Infinity Edge Kindred where you just go rapid fire cannon Infinity Edge, which in this position I don't think will be the greatest, so don't mind it, but It does mean that this extended team fight is really going to be the layering of these big ultimates, of the Sonar Tarek sustain that we need to be looking at.
Baron buff long ago expired. Now we're going to see Cosmic Radiance channels. Shaven Tortoise goes very, very aggressive. Turret's going to be picked up. Meanwhile, T looking for the duel on Dinojan in the bot lane. And even with the Isles being used, I'm not entirely sure Dinojan is going to be able to do much about this fight. Using the flash, he takes a clever path there, trying to get himself away. And despite the onslaught of shadows following, we are going to see Dinojan getting himself to safety. Loses flash though, and now he's got to be so much more careful while split pushing.
That's a 50-50 there, as T. You know now if he goes either for the bush or for the other side. And yeah, it's a coin flip. If he onslaughts on Shadow on top of me, that probably kills him. So lucky there for Dinojan. Nice to take the right path through the door now. Able to clear some vision, and this next Baron has now spawned. I don't want to see the Lionheads do it again, but I do want to make sure that they don't give it over, because don't be mistaken, I think the Lionheads can actually win here without ever picking up a Baron, but the same can't be said for the Portsmouth Pirates.
Yarrow tumbles forward trying to get some damage onto Divinus, but that's just not going to happen with Tarek around to shield the Vladimir up for days. If the Lionhearts do opt in to going for a Baron again, at least they've now got the Rage Blade completed on the Vayne. It will go down that much faster, but I have to completely agree with you, Chronicler. If they go for it, it could be suicide in this game, and they do not want to give away any more kills. Speaking of which, T knows there's no flash on Dinojan. He charges straight on in. The walls are going to be put up, but Dinojan looking like he tries to turn a bit of the damage back. He's got the Conqueror being used, but so has T. Both of these champions able to sustain for so long. The Eulogy of the Isles really helping Dinojan out in this fight, and Yorick turns things around, and while all that's happening, we are going to see the Baron started up. This is the second time this play has been made by the London Lionhearts. It backfired on them last time, but it's looking so much better this time. There's no contest from the Pirates.
And they can't get through. The Vayne shreds through that Baron in a matter of seconds. Chiruzu this time is going to be able to hold them. It's going to get taken here by the London Lionhearts. Last time it was a terrible play for them. Yarrow's still going to get caught in.
He gets caught out, but the Wild Growth gives him enough time to get the kill. Now the stun is going to land onto Yarrow. He's dashing away, but he is going to drop down to the Vladimir. Meanwhile, however, the full force of both teams has arrived into this fight. We're going to see T igniting Regan, forcing the flash at the Lulu, but he dashes himself straight over to Vladimir, who picks up the double kill, then gets taken down by Dinojan. Meanwhile, let's see if Trudon can get out. The answer, my friend, is no. Chiruzu and Dinojan doing everything they can. The stun is going to land onto T. He uses the onslaught of shadows. He goes golden, trying to buy some time, but surely it's only a matter of time before Chiruzu shuts down the Hecarim. We finally see one of these two champions die, and fittingly it's Chiruzu who kills off T.
That could have gone so wrong. I thought that with the Lamps Respite, this fight would have been completely different. I thought that Yarrow was going to get blown up immediately. The Wild Growth, though, keeps him alive for so incredibly long. Two members still have the Baron buff available, and it is, of course, Chiruzu on the Zeref. I said it before, I'm going to repeat it. We are never going to see Chiruzu on the champion again, because he's looking so incredibly good here. Yes, the London Lionheads get forced into a bad team fight there. I love the speed with which T came running out of nowhere with the Righteous Glory, and with all the speed up. But in the end, it's still the London Lionheads to get the better end of that trade. They're making their way towards the second Ocean Drake. 3 Elemental Dragons is going to make it a lot easier for them once that the big Elder Drake comes around, and Chiruzu's just waiting in the wings here to get some poke down.
The timing of this dragon being taken is really, really interesting, because it happens in the next 20 seconds. We'll have one more Elemental Dragon. Let's see whether or not the fight is going to stop that from happening. Meanwhile, look at the two members of the London Lionhearts who are completely stuck in the top lane. That means there's no potential contest here for the London Lionhearts. They're going to have to let this Ocean Dragon go over to Portsmouth Pirates. They're going to continue their push in the top lane, but that's just not really going to help them, because I don't think they're getting anywhere near the inhibitor. And now T knows that he can turn his attention straight onto Trulodorn, getting the knockback, and now the Cosmic Radiance is channeled, negating all the damage that could come through from Chiruzu. Trulodorn gets taken down. Dinojan might find himself in a bit of danger. Chiruzu now is throwing the damage down. Does not have the right of the Arcane available, having used it earlier in the fight during the Dragon. I said that they wouldn't get anywhere near the inhibitor turret, but my god, I was wrong. The inhibitor turret has fallen in the top lane on the back of all of this, because T's got himself destroyed. Chiruzu yet again getting the kill. Finally, the recalls are coming in from Kindra and Tarek, but it's too late for the inhibitor. Regan and Yarrow, my god, that was a 3,000 IQ play from them. It should never have worked, but on the back of that Dragon, it's going to be the London Lionhearts who get the first inhibitor of this game. Now Yarrow throwing down the Silver Bolts, trying to take down Divinus. The Condemn is timed nicely to keep him off his face. Yarrow gets one kill, but Lulu gets shut down. Oliver is dead, and Shaven Tortoise is not going to be able to save himself. Rhydona trying to get the kill, managing to take down Yarrow eventually, but not until he'd done so much work. Meanwhile, Dinojan has still got the Baron buff. Chiruzu still got the Baron buff. They're pushing onto turrets. They're pushing onto inhibitors, and the London Lionhearts have now got a stranglehold on this game.
What is this game? I can't believe it. They're able to bait him into trying to go for an Ocean Dragon, and then they get absolutely demolished. The play there from Yarrow, he's still the barrier available, might not have had it at that point, but the Flash Condemn, the two of them able to demolish 3 people, pick up an inhibitor, and they lose an Ocean Drake. You think they're really gonna get? I don't think so. They got 2 inhibitors off the back of that. Dinogen still has his Baron buff, and this final inhibitor doesn't even have a turret to protect it.
I didn't see the exact moment that Ocean Dragon went down, but I am pretty confident it came after 30 minutes, and I'm sure that the next dragon that will be on the table will be the Elder, and that is so crucial for both teams. And right now, with 2 inhibitors down, it's hard to see the side of the Pirates being in a position where they can even contest it.
And I was looking at Trudadon going forward. I was like, why are you being so greedy? Why are you trying to steal an Ocean Dragon? You're never going to get it. But I was proven so wrong, because the speed with which Yarrow and Regan, even without a Baron buff, could push, and the continuous poke from Chiruzu and Dinojan, who tried to punish as well as they could, meant that there was so much time for them to play upon. And now we're going to see the jungle being taken. We're going to see the jungle being lit up with wards here. And that middle inhibitor, once that falls, the Portsmouth Pirates are just going to be locked in that base.
In the last Belong Arena Clash finals, the winter split, the Portsmouth Pirates, they found themselves 2-0 up against the Clyde Claymores before eventually getting reverse swept and giving up their crown, not able to pick up their 5th title. Surely they must be getting some flashbacks now as they find themselves 4,000 gold down, 2 inhibitors dead in this 3rd game of the best of 5 series, and they could find themselves match point down.
And this is not what anyone would have expected. Imagine going to the first game, win with 20k up, and there be a match point down after 2 more games. That would be simply incredible. We do see though that the London Lionhearts, they don't really want to take a risk. They're playing it slow, they're waiting for the next Baron, and I gotta commend them for that, because I do still think a 5v5 is a risk around against this comp. We see the London Lionhearts, when they do it well, it's not because of 5v5 team fight, it's because they're drawing the Pirates to different parts of the map, and they're continuously able to find these objectives no matter what.
Baron buff will come up roughly the same time as the teleports for both T and Dinojan. Redona does have the teleport available on Sona, but that is nowhere near as big a deal as it is for the 2 top laners. What I need to see now is the London Lionhearts playing bait and switch with the Baron, drawing people out so that those waves of super minions can crash into the base.
And if they just don't make the same mistake we saw them make earlier, and we know that they can do this, but the first time they just committed to the Baron and they weren't able to make it work. This time they need to either bait it and wait for Dinojan. He doesn't have teleport yet, so they need to be really careful until that's available. But
it's only a matter of seconds.
No one is going towards Dinojan. He has a huge wave. He's just going to completely demolish the base here.
He's going to walk himself straight over to the inhibitor possibly, and now the Baron is here. We're going to see T and Divinus both turn their attention vaguely towards the Yorick, but there's a little bit of split decision coming in. Let's see whether or not the Portsmouth Pirates can find the fight they need to bring this game back in their favour. The Baron has slowly been started up, but now we see Yarrow, Trudadon and Regan stepping away. Yorick is just happy to continue walking into the base. He's got super minions with him, and suddenly he's not scared of T anymore. He has to show respect to the Hecarim, though he is of course 7, 2 and 3, but now Dinojan can turn straight over to the inhibitor, and with Triforce he just wrecks through it in just a couple of hits. The ZZ Rot portal is here, and T's health is quickly disappearing. The Eulogy of the Isles is absolutely doing damage. Shaven Tortoise has to use his ultimate, trying to keep himself alive in this fight. Trudadon gets the impale. The Cosmic Radiance has now timed out, and Yarrow's got the kill onto the Kindred. Divinus doing everything he can, trying to dive onto Dreutsu, who's still deathless in this game, but Divinus is going to go. It's Yarrow with the double kill. The Ride of the Arcane is summoned. This surely is going to be game for the London Lionhearts. Triple kill coming in as the fight still continues between Dinojan and T. The mighty top laners duking it out for days, but Rhydona manages to take down Trudadon, but it doesn't matter because Vane's got a quadra kill. This is going to be the game. It could be the Penta. Give the man his Penta. Yarrow with the Penta kill. 2-1 to the London Lionhearts.
20k gold. I keep coming back to this because it's blowing my mind how the London Lionhearts can have a game like that and then absolutely demolish in this game. It's I have no words.
We just had a pentakill in the Belong Arena Clash Grand Final.
It's not only a pentakill, but it's Yarrow once again who comes up huge. But yes, Yarrow gets that penta, but my MVP here is Chiruzu.
Has to be.
Dad Zareth was able to consistently keep them in the game or in the mid-game. They gave up a Baron, and still they were able to somehow make it. They gave up the barrier. Not only that, but they were kind of in an awkward spot here and there, and then their big play. They bait the Ocean Drake, they hold the back timers, an overextension by T, and all of a sudden 2 inhibitors fall. And we've also, as we saw, Dinogen was reaching a point, and this is why the Yorick is so scary. Even if he has a rough time in the early lane, it's the same as with a Fiore. The inevitability of him being left alone for just a second with a turret and an inhibitor, and it just being gone immediately, is always there.
One of the most incredible games we have ever had at Belong Arena Clash, and it comes in the grand final. It puts the London Lionhearts at match point. I don't know about you, Chronicler, but I need a moment or two to regain my composure, so we're going to cut to a small break, and after it we'll bring you Game 4 of this phenomenal series. We are straight live into the Game 4 pick and bans in this best of 5 grand final between the Portsmouth Pirates and the London Lionhearts. London Lionhearts currently leading 2-1. They are now on the blue side of the rift. Their early bans are going to be the Aurelia and the Caitlin. We see the Xerath unsurprisingly taken away from Jirutsu along with the Cassiopeia.
In terms of calls, that was not a very bold one. the Xerath being taken off the table, simply incredible how much impact Jirutsu had on the champion. And the Vayne also getting taken away from Yarrow, and I also agree with that. And I honestly think that even without the Vayne, if you give Yarrow something that scales as well as the Vayne does, the Sonar Taric isn't really going to be a problem. And more importantly, perhaps, I actually feel like the Sonar Taric wasn't executed as strong as I know it can be. And we've seen this pick be banned for the entirety of the tournament thus far. And Regan this time does get his flash. And you remember the second finals against the Clyde Claymores, where they were able to win the game off of one single hook from Regan.
Yeah, Regan certainly happy to be able to pick up his favoured champion. Looking at the champions that Yarrow could still be playing as well, he had a really terrific game on Varus earlier in this series. That, of course, is still available should he want it. Taric Sonar as well, not banned away, but now not going to get to see that one coming through, as Sivir and Jarvan are the lock-ins for the side of the Portsmouth Pirates.
And I feel like the Pirates are now also saying, again, we keep getting into these late-game, mid-game situations, and the London Lionhearts are a really good team, but they're not the fastest of teams. And I really like that what we see here from the Pirates is an adaptation in pick and ban, as the Sivir and the Jarvan give them both a little bit of early game and a little bit of late game. I feel like Sivir really is a carry, unlike something like a Caitlyn that also has an early power spike. Sivir really needs her items, but then once she does, it's insane how much of an impact she can have. And opposing to that, we get the Tristana coming out from Yarrow, who has played before. We've talked about Divinus' Orianna before as well, but it's the first time we're actually seeing it. I'm loving the come from the Portsmouth Pirates already.
It's definitely looking good, and it seems to state slightly different to their normal play style. You know, you talk about them being a super early game
more
team,
controlling.
with the exception of the Jarvan, who obviously can have a massive amount of early game impact. They're actually looking like they're understanding that the side of the London Lionhearts have worked out how to play a bit safer, take the game a bit later, and they're actually giving themselves some champions they're going to be able to do masses of damage with later on.
So this Poppy ban signals to me that they're thinking of picking something with a lot of dashes, and then
Hacker
I don't think you'd really go for the Poppy into a Hackerim, and I expect to maybe see a Hackerim ban here
The
as well.
Jarvan could be top.
That is possible. It's possible that Jarvan goes top. I would also not be opposed to seeing something like an Akali that we haven't really seen yet. The Aurelia is of course a big pick, but that's already been banned away, and that's also something that you traditionally pick it into. There's also options like the Riven, champions that really rely on their mobility to make it work, as the LeBlanc gets taken away from Chiruzu. And for Divinus, I don't feel like it's really a big change to go for him to go for the Orianna. It's more about the Sivir here for Rhydona, because it's not like he doesn't play these late game carries, but do you remember his Sivir in game number 1? Because his Caitlyn in game number 1.
Oh, his Caitlyn in game 1. Oh, that was obliterated.
And that was absolutely disgusting to watch. He was able to just murder everyone who came his path, and this is 9.8, so that Ornn ban isn't a mistake. It is one of the stronger picks according to some of the players I talked to at the moment, with the item buffs really getting him to a point where you can feel comfortable picking him and getting a really nice late game going. But what kind of confuses me is that you see the Ornn ban and then immediately the Braum pick up, and then you're like, okay. That is if
I mean, I suppose at the same time, you know, one thing Braum can't do is he can't stop you buying all those extra damage items late in the game. So,
and I think what's more important is that it doesn't leave the possibility for a Braum or for an Ornn for T open. And that is something that's bigger, because if the Braum was picked away here and they would go for a last pick Ornn, I don't think it would be a good response. As the Syndra gets picked up here for Chiruzu, a really different pick. And the Yorick again, I love this from Dinochan.
I think it makes a lot of sense to put Yorick back on that pick. He did a decent job on it despite falling behind in the last game. Now I want to see whether we're going to see a jungler or a top lane, because I have this feeling that we could have seen the Jarvan in the top. It's going to be immediately proved wrong though. That's why you've got a Poppy ban. Who's got dashes? Who's got leaps? Well, no dashes, but definitely a leap. Jax. We have got ourselves the Grandmaster's Might.
And the Jax is
Wow.
one of the few picks who I think kind of soft counters Yorick. It is a skill matchup, but he is the one pick. As we saw, the Hakarim is so good in the mid game, and the late hate game, Hakarim still beats a lot of champions, but Yorick just reaches a point where he becomes this unstoppable brick that throws zombies at you.
And the Maiden was shredding through as well.
Exactly, and the Jax is the one pick that, if you think of hyper carries, one of the most traditional ones in League of Legends is that Jax. Give Jax a kill or two, and he will take over your game. So take a look at the full compositions here now. There's a lot of comfort for the Portsmouth Pirates because Truladon loves his Rek'Sai. Dynagen looked good on the Yorick, and Yarrow
For the Lionhearts.
for the line, and Yarrow and Regan are on Fresh and Tristana, both champions that they love. Right, and there's a really aggressive level 2 that he can get with those. So early game for Tristana is actually quite good, especially when you compare it to his Sivir that really doesn't get going until later in the game. So actually, this time, the London Lionhearts go for a bit more of a proactive style because yes, Tristana skills well, Syndra skills well as well. I mean, in late game, the damage becomes a little bit tougher to pull off, but there's always the Scatter of the Weak, and the CC here is something that they've been using really well. I remember the Xerath, it wasn't just a poke, it was also the stun that Charuz was able to take consistently, and a Xerath stun is scary, but a Scatter of the Weak, even stronger.
You talk about there being comfort for the London Lionhearts. I'm not entirely sure of how much comfort there is there for the Portsmouth Pirates. Not necessarily in the champions they're playing, but in the style that composition is going to play towards. I've really, I've built them up as these kings of early game. Nothing, apart from maybe the Jarvan, speaks of early game to me in terms of what that composition is going to do. And I need to see whether the Portsmouth Pirates themselves can now adapt, having found out that actually this early game dominance isn't picking up the wins against the London Lionhearts.
And it's more about finding the early game dominance as well, because that was really the problem for them, because if they found it, we saw that they can snowball it every single time. But now you have a composition, it is a really well-rounded. You have a great split push threat in the Jax that I think is going to outskill the Yorick, unless we see the Yorick get massively ahead. And Jarvan into Rek'Sai isn't a great matchup. Like, let's get that out of the way, because Rek'Sai in a 2v2 has the edge, does more damage than the Jarvan, farms a little bit faster, and it is not a hard counter, but it is kind of unfortunate for the Jarvan to be in that position. So that is something where I want to see Truladorn finally beat Shaven Tortoise, because the Kindred game wasn't the greatest, but Shaven Tortoise in general really has been the engine of the Portsmouth Pirates, and if Truladorn can negate him, that is going to be really, really important. Now the rest, you have a really easy ball delivery system with both the Jax and with the Jarvan. It also interested to me if we're going to see a more tanky Jarvan build or if we're going to see full damage, because a tanky Jarvan build will really solidify a good front to back team fight with the Braum and the Jarvan. You have a lot of engage, you have a lot of late game damage, and you have, like the last game, but as opposed to Tarxona, it's a little bit easier to execute because you can actually seed without a Baron. You have a really nice all-round team composition, but like you say, the early game, for the first time in the series, I'd really give to the London Lionhearts in terms of draft, and that raises some questions for me, because we see last time that the Lionhearts in terms of macro can actually pull apart the Portsmouth Pirates, despite that one Baron call that we're not going to talk about anymore. that really hurt me.
It was questionable.
It hurt me.
Moving on from that, if you are wondering what the hundreds of glowing screens are behind us, we are coming to you live from Insomnia 64. This is, of course, the Belong Arena Clash Grand Final, and we are into the second day. It's like IEM Katowice all over again, with the delays that we have had, and the teams are having to fight. It's become a battle of endurance at this point as we enter Game 4 across 2 different days.
Not just for the players, like, how are you doing, Stan? Because you've been screaming at this screen for quite a while, man.
Yeah, if Yarrow could stop getting quadra and pentakills, that would be pretty great for me. But you know what?
Like, I'll take that win, but
yeah.
Like, let's be real here. You got to think about your costers as well, guys. I understand that after an entire season of hard, grueling work, being the underdogs in this series, getting stomped with 20k down, and now being up match point against the previous 4 times winners, the Portsmouth Pirates, you want to win the game, but isn't that a little selfish? Can you think about us as well?
Nuts to the casters. No one cares about them now. Let's throw some love to the wonderful folks in the production. Not only who we're working tirelessly last night to try and get us going, but we've also come back in early this morning. And massive amount of love to everybody who's involved with the Belong Arena Clash, not just for League of Legends, but with all our games across this split. Thank you very much. A big grey heart for you.
You have a grey heart? That's not healthy, man. You should go to a doctor. And the
Too many Subways.
Of promise that we want, like the amount of hype that we wanted to see in this final game, it was there. and it didn't show up in game number 1. It looked like a free quick O, and here once again a 5-man stack from the Portsmouth Pirates, and it's up to Dynagen to not get caught here.
Yorick so far not walking anywhere near this tri-bush. We've seen this before, usually however from the blue side, as we see Shaven Tortoise and crew coming up to see if he can find anybody in this bush. Instead it's going to be the whole team that themselves go into that bush, but they're just going to walk themselves out of there knowing that they're not able to get the pickups. Despite the fact this isn't the early game composition for the Portsmouth Pirates, I really do like the way that they still made the potential early proactive plays.
You have one of the strongest level 1s in the game in Brom, so I think it's a good call there to try and get something done. Maybe if they do a really weird invade, because I have seen topside invades by opposing teams, it's something that you can go for, but instead we see a red side start for Shaven Tortoise, and the same for Trulodon, so these two junglers are going to be mirrored. That opens up the possibility of some vertical jungling. Whether or not that's what we're actually going to see remains to be seen, but Trulodon here gonna picking up his rat buff, and I imagine that we see both junglers go for their own scuttle. Dynagen now making his way up top lane.
Braum and Siva are going to get themselves to the lane first, perhaps getting themselves towards an earlier level 2 than the Thresh Tristana. Definitely a nice early start for the side of the Portsmouth Pirates as they look to get themselves back to back level in this series, trying to find their own match point.
Because the Portsmouth Pirates were the favourites coming into this. They've had an incredible season thus far, and we know that they can pull it off. We've seen them in this exact series just completely demolish them, and it's now up to their mental to prove that they can in fact make it work here.
You can take the early game out of the team comp of the Portsmouth Pirates, but you can't take it out of their playstyle because they are always going to keep invading, especially Shaven Tortoise. Early game ganks are in his blood.
A flash for flash trade, so yes, Shaven Tortoise forces the flash from Taruza, but it's because he flashes in initially, and that is a good trade because Syndra is a pick that is so susceptible to these ganks, does not have any mobility whatsoever, and if a follow-up gank from Shaven Tortoise finds first blood, I would not be surprised. But look at the positioning here that we got in terms of jungle.
Charutsu perhaps slightly greedily going for that ignite, but as you see that damage coming in after the scatter of the week on top of Divinus, it does make sense for Charutsu, who will be looking to get himself some potential solo kills, but he's got to be so careful of what Shaven Tortoise can do. Meanwhile, the opposition jungler Trulodon has found himself on the top side Krugs. He has the chance to come in towards Teasjax.
And the Krugs getting taken here, both junglers kind of going into each other's jungle now. We'll be picking up both camps. No movement from Trulodon towards the top side though. Gonna leave Dynagen on his own, and early on the Yorick can really bully the Jax, as we can see here.
T having to flash away the ignite put down to Divinus. He uses that defensive shield coming in from his command protect to keep himself alive, but that is going to be a trade of summoners. Heal for ignite in the mid lane.
And Charuzu has consistently been able to find these solo kills last game, and it looks like on the Syndra he's also putting out a ton of pressure. Needs to be mindful because Shaven Tortoise is making his way up towards the river, and he does not have flash available anymore.
Alright, it is going to be recall coming in from T. Has got the teleport to get straight back to lane already. Dynagen putting in that split pushing pressure, even though we haven't got even close to the mid game.
And thus far, neither team gaining a big definitive advantage. We do see though T, thanks to that early pressure from Dynagen, this time though 15 CS behind already here, and that is huge. He will be able to pick up a couple of CS on the back of that wave, and the next one crashing into his turret now, but that also means that unless he can get a freeze going, the wave will crash in, reset, and Dynagen can keep this pressure up.
On the plus side for the Pirates, however, they do have a CS lead in all of the other lanes right now, apart from the jungle. You know, technically not a lane, but there is an advantage there for the Rex side. Meanwhile, Regan and Yera, they're happy to just pick up as much of the farm under the turret as they can, not falling too far behind the Sivir.
And we see the double Doran's ring getting picked up for Divinus, and he kind of needs the extra help as well as Shaven Tortoise. There is still flash available for Dynagen. I do think with that ward that Tortoise was spotted, it's getting further and further behind though, because he's looking for these ganks. But look at the levels here. Trulodon already a whole level up, and in terms of CS, it doesn't look like the advantage is going anywhere anytime soon. With the bot side scuttle about to spawn, and Trulodon having the priority there.
Mountain Dragon is going to be the first one on the Rift this time. That could be so crucial for both these split pushing champs in the top lane, also for the Tristana, who's already got such an ability to shred through objectives.
And we see with that Rift Cut being taken in the bot side, a little bit of vision gained. Trulodon already looking really confident on the Rek'Sai, and we see these waves coming back and forth. Divinus tanking a lot there.
Stun lands on Divinus, ultimate not quite available for Chirutsu, so no unleashed power just yet, but Divinus making small mistakes like getting caught out by that Scatter of the Week and taking the turret shots.
And he can afford that now, but without his heal available, the next Scatter of the Week that hits as soon as Chirutsu hits 6 with the Ignite is going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with, because the damage is so much, and Sinrad level 6 is such an incredible pick. And more importantly, if you get behind or get ahead early on in that matchup, you can just keep bullying the Orianna, who takes a little bit longer time to get going. Now Shaven Tortoise is trying to catch up in farm as well, but losing the Riftside Scuttler really costs him there. He's going to make his way, and this gank needs to succeed.
But it won't, because of the ward.
Pirates, yeah, it won't, because he's standing on top of a ward, as you say, and there's more and more opportunities here. A lovely play from Regan, and that's going to be all. And Shaven Tortoise, he's trying desperately to get things done in the early game, but he's not finding anything yet, and this is where the gold lead that we see come from.
There it is, that's the Ignite, that's the ultimate. The Shockwave is all in vain. That's not even going to go on cooldown because it's not completely finished off. The first blood of the game goes over to Chirutsu in what could be the deciding game in the series if the London Lionhearts can keep this up.
And Divinus, you need to flash that Scatter of the Week at this point in time if you think it's going to hit you, because you know that this is going to happen. The Ignite was available for Chirutsu, perfect timing there, hit 6 and immediately 1v1s his opponents. And we saw last time, if the London Lionheart get ahead, what can happen, how well they can play off this mid lane. And we see Trulodon picking up the top side here. Rek'Sai will be spotted, and Dynagen is there as well. This 2v2 might be a little bit risky.
Let's see, the Eulogy of the Isles is here. The Leap Strike not been used by T as he used the counter-strike defensively, but now we can see just how much damage already put down by Dynagen. He's having such a great time in this top lane, finding one of his comfort picks, playing it 2 games in a row, and so far doing great work on it.
And the roam from Divinus was punished by the control ward there, and yet they disengage, they get to better ends their trade, they pick up a lot of farm, and the lead for Trulodon is going to continue. Will of that Void was available so much earlier than the Cataclysm, and that is going to become an issue getting into this game. Now the top lane matchup is going favourable here for T, because he's not falling too far behind, as again Divinus gets hit. Has gone, as we see here, Shaven Tortoise going for the Cinderog. I really like that it's been buffed in this patch. Was buffed in the last patch, but didn't go through for some reason. Thank you, Jazz.
No, the tooltip was buffed in the last patch.
Which is very nice. And Shaven Tortoise, I love that, because I do feel like he will be the main initiator for his team. He's going to be the one who gets the Shockwave on top of him, and he needs to be tanky to be able to actually pull that off. So I think that's a good build path. It does mean, though, Shaven Tortoise is the engine for the Portsmouth Pirates. His early game prowess, it was allows them to win games early on and snowball them so incredibly hard. Now, he's already behind, he's going for a tanky build, and that impact is severely diminished as he now 20 CS behind Trulodon.
I am so fascinated by the dynamic of this game, watching T and the rest of the Portsmouth Pirates play a style that seems so foreign to them. I don't remember the last time I saw them pick the scaling composition, not find an early lead. Both of these things are almost new to them right now, and they've got to show that they can play in multiple scenarios if they want any chance in this game. They're not falling that far behind. They're doing what the Lionhearts did in the last game. They're absorbing quite a lot of the early potential game pressure, only giving away the 1 kill, but T constantly getting bullied by this Yorick, and Dynagen getting a massive lead, well, not necessarily a massive lead on CS, but a strong lead, and now Trulodon looking to make it even bigger. The Prey Seeker is going to hit. That's going to be the Void Rush, the nice use of Counter-Strike, negating a bit of the damage. Turret shots are hitting, and that's going to be the Void Rush right now. The damage is not there. Trulodon stops taking the aggro. Beautiful juggling. Dynagen steps forward during the Void Rush. This stops the turret from hitting Trulodon as he comes back out. We see T escaping with his life, but Trulodon is lucky to do the same.
Yeah, that was really close. If that had gone awry again, if T had outplayed him one more time, it would have been atrocious. The flash being gone, though, is really big, both for the Rek'Sai.
Don't make any mistake, T did outplay them.
Yeah, no, he definitely
100%,
did.
but it was just the fact the kill doesn't come through is the saving grace for the Lionhearts.
And this is a moment where Shaven Tortoise, as we can see now, can get back into this game. A field top lane gang provides with the opportunity to get a lot of vision, to clear some bot side camps, maybe even pick up a rep buff if they're not careful, and possibly contest the Mountain Drake. They do have the priority, and Trulodon is going for a back here.
Alright, the Mountain Dragon still available, as you are saying, but no one wants to pay their attention to that at the moment. There have been some key fights in this series around the neutral objectives, and right now neither team seems to want to risk that. For the side of the Pirates, they do seem to have a decent bit of priority in the bot lane. Perhaps they're finally going to turn their attention towards the Oldie Mountain.
It's so easy to counter push though with the Tristana because of explosive shots, and the Jarvan is looking for something there. Is making his way toward the bot side jungle and might meet Trulodon there.
True Dawn is going to get some damage on Shaven Tortoise, immediately flag and dragging. Of course, he gets knocked by the Mountain Dragon, but that's really not going to matter. Negligible damage onto Shaven Tortoise.
And we see that, there we go, the trades keep going through with T and Dynagen, who will be taking a lot of damage, as we see that T consistently able to output the to out duel the pressure here, and yes, he's falling behind a little bit in CS, but perhaps more importantly, he will be able to 3D scale, and if there is a pick that outskills the Yorick, as we said previously, it is the Jax. The Counter-Strike is going to become better and better, and as Jax gets the Triforce and gets a bit of tankiness on him, he's going to be able to just chew through every single member. And we already mentioned a Flash Jax in combination with a Counter-Strike can be so hard to play against. A lot of summoners available here, and we see some mid-lane shenanigans happening.
Considering the champions that we've got that can take turret plating so quickly, it's interesting to see so little turret plating taken at this point, but some may come on the back of this fight. We're going to see the shockwave, that catches onto Trudorn, uses the Void Rush, he manages to get onto Shaven Tortoise despite the flash, but now Trudorn is caught very much between a rock and a hard place. The flash forward from Divinus equalises the kills in this mid-lane trade. Both the junglers are going to die, both of the mid-lane, one mid-laner getting a kill, Trudorn getting the kill for the London Lionhearts.
And that is really the best case scenario here. I think that could have gone alright. Flash Force there, and Chiruzu not having the upfront damage. We see Regan with a nice roam, but I don't think he's going to be able to hit that hook.
Alrighty, Dino-Jan continuing his oppressive bullying in the top lane. T once more leap striking himself to safety rather than aggressively. Of course, the Grandmaster's Might is available for T, so he does have the opportunity to throw that down if he finds himself in danger. He outplayed previously. He's gone for the Grandmaster's Might. He's looking for more hits. He's got the phage. He's got damage. Can he get himself a kill? Flash not available for T, but it is for Dino-Jan, and that is his saving grace.
I thought Leap Strike would be off cooldown there, but it isn't, because if not, T would have gotten a solo kill there. Absolute excellent play here. We're already seeing why the Jax is such a hard matchup for the Yorick, especially if you don't have the ghouls available. Trudorn doesn't have the flash, and a simple Leak Strike takes care of that.
No Void Rush either, so even if the prey sequence to hit, you're going to see the damage coming through. The damage might be here though, as Chirutsu looking to land the stun, not quite going to land it. Nice flash coming in from Oliver, getting himself to safety. That's a painful summoner to burn just for trying to put down some vision though.
Yeah, and especially it takes away a lot of engage. You still have the Jarvan to do that, but it's nice to have the Glacial Fissure as well. If you see an opportunity, that won't be there now, and we're starting to see the London Lionhearts take control of the bot side river, trying to maybe secure a Mountain Dragon anytime soon.
Of course, there are two big neutral objectives available on the map. The Herald on the top side of the river, the Mountain Dragon on the bottom side. If a kill or two were to come out, some nice pressure, we could see one of those objectives being picked up by either team, and both of them could be so critical at this early stage.
And what I love is that we see that the Portsmouth Pirates can indeed play from behind, because there were sizable early leads, and there we go, what a CC combo.
Flash hook from Regan, the nice shockwave is going to land onto two. The Flag and Drag is here, but unfortunately Divinus has already died in this fight. Regan now stepping himself away. It's going to be the Cataclysm used, but Chirutsu trying to stay alive. He didn't die in the last game. He doesn't want to die in this one. Trudorn takes down Shaven Tortoise. The 3 versus 1 is too much for the Jarvan. T not able to get the kill onto Dino-Jan, and now the pressure is here in the bot lane. Rhydona at least managed to do something with Oliver in the bot lane to kind of get some pressure for the Portsmouth Pirates, but the reality is on the back of that mid lane fight, the Mountain Dragon and some turret plating will go over to the London Lionhearts.
And what a clean play, and this is the lack of damage that you have with the Jarvan if he goes full tank. It works well when you have the follow-up, but with the Divinus getting taken under the fried at the start that we see that Shaven Tortoise just barely misses what he needs to.
Hook is going to land, Unbreakable thrown down, Oliver trying to get as much damage as possible. The leap from Yarrow is straight on top of Oliver, gets the reset, there's the knockup coming onto Rhydona, double kill for the ADC. Yarrow's got going again, and that's dangerous for the Pirates.
London Lionhearts, every single game that we've seen them win, we've seen the exact same scenario. Chirutsu and Yarrow get ahead. Yes, Trudorn is really good on the Rek'Sai, but I'm getting more and more afraid for the Portsmouth Pirates here.
This is a potential flank coming in. Rek'Sai is going to look for Jarvan. The Prey Seeker lands. The knockup is there. Yet another hook from Regan. Is there nothing that man can't do on Thresh? Well, he can't save Trudorn, who just took one turret shot too many. At the end of the day, that was a 1-for-1 on the bot side of the map. But considering that it was the pressure for the Portsmouth Pirates, that's probably something that, considering the double kill Yarrow just received, the London Lionhearts will still be pretty happy about.
And the Mountain Drake also kind of alleviates the issue that Tristan is a really strong AD carry, but she's not the fastest at taking objectives, and it's going to be a lot easier with that as it shreds through a Baron, a Dragon, just a little bit faster, allowing you, and we know that the London Lions love themselves a Baron play, Dynagen, though, I think that if you are the Portsmouth Pirates here, you're looking to slow this game down. You still have a really good team fight composition where you can just deliver the ball on top of a Cataclysm. You have the Glacial Fish, you have a Civ who's going to do tremendous damage as the game goes on, and T is going to win that 1v1 against Dynagen. But Yarrow is getting ahead, Chiruzu is getting ahead, and the early to mid game has been so well played here by the London Lionhearts.
Oh, well, we see that all the parts are there for the Trinity Force for Jax now. He's only just got to throw that extra little bit of gold at it to meld the three items, the Phage, the Stinger, and the Sheen together. But he doesn't need them to go in on Dynagen right now. Flashing forward, the Grandmaster's might is used. The damage is there. That's the easiest solo kill you will see today.
Really nice bait there, making him think that he's gone back, uses his own flash, no flash available for Dynagen, and this is what we talk about, a Jax who gets ahead is going to do the same thing that we saw last game. Now, the team fight is really good up until the point where the Portsmouth Pirates really starts to scale with how far the Lionhearts are ahead. They are put on a clock here. If they wait too long, if they don't maintain this tempo, and if they lose first turret blood here,
which these
are the kind of things that you can't really afford to, because don't be mistaken, they're ahead now, and they will be ahead hopefully for the next, say, 10 minutes, but they need to build upon this lead, because if they don't do so, I see the Portsmouth Pirates taking a win in the late game here.
Teleport advantage now for T, and a trap being set for Yarrow. Multiple members in the bush, but there are pings being put down. Yarrow completely aware that this could be going on, keeping himself safe on the Tristana, but Divinus has got to keep himself safe on the Oriana. He decides to dash to safety. Yarrow uses the leap, but it is it's followed, by the Cataclysm. Flash out of it by Yarrow as he tries to get himself to the safety of his team. He burns his ultimate, he burns his summoner spell, but it's going to be the mid lane turret that is the only objective secured during that small trade.
Actually think Yorick might be able to get a turret there, as we see that T is maybe able to get a kill here. They used the leap strike just to engage, so won't be able to, unfortunately. A lot of people going down topside, and T, he can take on a 1v1, but I don't know if this is what he's looking for.
Dash is there. True Dawn already managing to get the counter-strike out of T, but look at Oliver with the Glacial Fisher landing onto 2. Damage for days out of T, but Chiruzu's got even more of that damage. The Scatter of the Weak onto 2. Nobody dies for the London Lionheart. Double kill for the Rek'Sai. True Dawn has been a monster in this game.
And it's the roam from Chiruzu that really seals the deal there, because just a little bit longer and the extended damage from the Jax and the Oriana was all making a way there, could have completely turned that final round and made it go so badly for the London Lionhearts, but instead they get a 2-for-0. Dynagen is drawing a lot of attention here.
This could be quite greedy. Flash away from the shockwave is going to be enough to keep Dynagen alive. Meanwhile, a Herald is being picked up, the bot lane turret is being picked up, and you wanted to see more pressure coming out from the Lionhearts while they had this lead before the Pirates scale up, and that's exactly what they're doing.
I actually do not dislike Dynagen going forward. The flash is unfortunate, but he drew the attention, allowing Yarrow to push without a problem to get them, allow them to get some mid lane turret damage, and allow them to pick up the Rift Herald without so much as a hitch. The next dragon is about to spawn, and don't think we have seen what it is going to be yet, but an Inferno or a Mountain Drake would be absolutely amazing here for the London Lionhearts. They want to extend this lead, that's what they've been able to. In a 1v1 scenario, they're not able to really get anything done in a lot of the lanes, but it's the combination of their roams and their shot calling that has been so oppressive this game, and Yarrow is getting more and more items.
That was Herald summoned in an unusual position, but what that's going to do is, as it starts to push in the top lane, it's going to draw attention away from the dragon. It makes a huge amount of sense now you look at it, and that is the thinking we get from players of this level.
And it's a second Mountain Dragon, and that would be so key for the London Lionhearts. I would not be surprised if they also put up the Eulogy of the Arse there. Now, Dynagen has to know that something is wrong as his ward is getting cleared. He's going to be making his way out there. He doesn't have the flash though, and I think that he's the sacrificial lamb. A kill for a Drake, especially a second Mountain. I think you're going to take that, but it does feel bad for
Look
Dynagen.
how much health Oliver lost in a 3-versus-1 situation. Rhydona almost falls. That is going to be Shaven Tortoise getting the kill. Mountain Dragon has not yet been picked up. T attempting to contest his objective. Not going to be able to do anything against 4 members of the London Lionhearts, however. Let's see what the Pirates can get. We know that they're giving up this Mountain Dragon, but they've already got themselves 1 kill. Now can they get a turret?
They should be able to. There's really no contest here. Rhydona is going to 2-hit that turret, and what a series we have on our hands here. There is a gold lead, and 2 Mountain Dragons are going to make it easy, but with the wave clear available to the Portsmouth Pirates, with the strength of their 5v5, I still feel like the London Lionhearts need to keep this tempo up. They've been able to do so thus far, but that Baron is going to be key.
Stop. Baron time. It's just come onto the Rift, and it has been one of the clutch things to watch during this entire series. In the last game, it was almost the site of the greatest throw this series could have had. At the end of the day, Lionhearts managed to pull themselves back from the edge despite those mistakes, but we know they love to go for a Baron. We know they love to start it up, and with a Tristana, with double Mountain Dragon, it will go down so insanely fast. If vision is lost just for a moment or two, the Pirates could find themselves down.
And they know so as well, and we see them gravitate towards, and a big thing here is that Dynogen will not have split push pressure like he did last time, because as long as T is around, they will be able to actually match him, where the hacker him last time just wasn't able to do that anymore. There are no teleports available. There will be a very, very small timing window where Dynogen is available, and that won't be the same set for T. The thing is though, with their composition right now, I think that so big are the power spikes. We see Chiruzu now with the Oblivion Orb and getting towards the Death Gap. A single scatter a week can blow someone up, and this is when the London Lionhearts are strongest. They need to look for fights, they need to make the plays, and Dynogen needs to watch out for T.
Orianna has opted into a lot of damage in her build. The Luden's Echo, the Sork Shoes, and the Fiendish Codex all there. If the right shockwave hits, that could still change the fight. Even though the Orianna maybe doesn't have quite the damage the Syndra has, the right shockwave, it just won't matter.
Yarrow stepping very far forward, as we know he likes to do. He's been kind of a split-pushing threat as well in of himself. So last time with Regan getting the inhibitor there. Chiruzu though, the problem with Syndra is that unlike with the Zeref, it's much more dangerous to try and go for these big plays to do all the damage that you know you can do. And that's something that we're seeing. He's not able to extend his lead like last time. Trulidorn though on the Rek'Sai. The limit testing that this man does and is able to consistently pull off is amazing. He times his Void Rushes so well. And I want to see them take control of this Baron. There's a lot of vision, and with T not having a teleport yet, and Dynogen making his way up top, we could see an attempt at the Baron here.
Trulidorn has died twice this game, but it feels like it could have been so many more times, and the fact that it isn't is a big part of why his team's been able to turn things around. Also Chirutsu being deathless in this game, considering the position he's been in multiple times.
22 minutes, look
This
at
is
them
exactly
shredded.
what I was telling you about. You lose that vision for a moment, and the Baron is down to half health. This is a three-man Baron. Syndra trying to get a little bit of zone. Trulidorn is down to around about the half health. The flag is going to be, the Damascene Standard from Jarvan is going to reveal what's going on, and that's enough to stop Yarrow and co from trying to take the Baron down any further. Meanwhile, T, he's already gone straight in on Dinojan. Managed to get one hit in with the Trinity Force with that Tiamat as well, but it's not going to be quite as much damage as perhaps he was hoping. The hook not quite connecting from Regan. Look at Trulidorn and co waiting in the wings. Yarrow is on the top side of the map. There is a slightly awkward split. That's not the person you want separated from your team.
But if Ollie gets caught, it might all go wrong. We know that Regan can hit his key hooks whenever he needs to. Goes for a blind hook, maybe Divinus steps too forward. He doesn't though, but Rhydona did.
Rhydona flashes away. That was the scatter of the week into Unleash Power from Syndra, decimating the health bar of Divinus. Meanwhile, Dinojan and T yet again having this fight. The Eulogy of the Isles trying to do whatever it can. The Grandmaster's Might still hasn't been issued, so T has got a lot more health than it looks like. Look how very low Dinojan is. The flash is available. T has the Leap Stripe, has got the flash, decides not to go in on the Yorick just yet, and the Baron's been started up for the second time. It is down to round about half health, but look at the four surrounding members from the Portsmouth Pirates. Once again, they managed to stave off the Baron threat.
And what I want to see from the London Lionhearts now is that it's clear that the Portsmouth Pirates are not going to be caught for no reason. You really need to set something up here. I love that Dynogen is able to stay alive there, but we do see the issue. T is just able to consistently out-pressure him. And the London Lionhearts, they're one Baron away from being able to get a push on, do a lot of damage, and maybe crack open the base. And once that has happened, I think that they should be confident in their ability to get it done. But what we're seeing here from the Portsmouth Pirates is excellent defensive play, where they're able to consistently make it work. And there we see the Ocean Dragon is going to be the next one. That's not a dragon that either of the two teams is really looking for. If it was an Inferno or a Mountain, we could supposedly see maybe a split happening, but that's not going to go down here.
Alright, the Dragon is going to be up in just a few moments. Let's see whether or not the third one can be picked up for the London Lionhearts. The game has stalled out slightly, and despite the fact there are only 24 minutes on the clock, it feels so much later because all the dances that we've already had around the Baron. This is the exact semi-final play that Regan managed to make that got the London Lionhearts to the final, but this time it's not worked in their favour. Trulidorn dashes forward, trying to get the kill on Rhydona, but instead the shutdown is going to be picked up by the Sivir. Yarrow flashing away, stunned up, the Winter's Bite, the Cataclysm, Orianna picks up the kill. Now the Baron is going to be on the minds of the Portsmouth Pirates, and I think they're going to get it.
And this might be the turnaround that leads to a 2-2. An absolutely crucial pick. I love the attempt here, but there just isn't enough up-front damage. The committal from the lineouts is amazing because Yarrow looks silly jumping forward there, but if he gets the reset on Rydona, the damage is gone, he gets another jump, he will be able to get out and they might be fine, but instead a lovely shockwave by Divinus is going to secure the Baron here for the Portsmouth Pirates. And imagine if it was Divinus getting hooked there instead of Rydona. The situation would have been turned around. Instead, the Baron goes over to the Portsmouth Pirates. We know that they have an incredibly scary team fight composition. And T, the split pusher, he's been in ahead this entire game, and now he has a Baron buff.
This is just, it's like watching a mirror match from the previous game. This time it is the Pirates who wait out the early game pressure. They wait to get their composition online. They wait for a small mistake coming in from the Lionhearts. They get themselves a 5-man Baron buff. The Ocean Dragon is picked up as a small consolation by Dinojan, but now we've got to see how the side of the London Lionhearts can adapt their play. They've had this composition where they've been able to do something for the last 25 minutes or so. Well, now not only are they starting to fall off in terms of scale, but also they are having to defend against a mighty Baron buff.
And their wave clear's alright, although not quite as good as that what the Portsmouth Pirates had.
No
and
static
Pirates
shift.
Are exactly. Pirates are really pivoting here into a different composition, into a different strategy, and I love that from them. As Dinogen goes in here.
Shaven Tortoise yet again showing he just loves to fight, dashing in and immediately forcing the side of the London Lionhearts away. Eulogy of the Isles was summoned. That is going to be an ultimate-less Dinojan, and as he tries to counter-push against T, he's not going to be able to do very much at all. Turret falls in the bottom of the side of the map for the first time this game. The turret advantage, sorry, the first time since first Turret Blood, the turret advantage goes over to the Portsmouth Pirates. They have a 2,000 gold lead. They've still got the Baron buff on 5 members. Yarrow is pushing out in the mid lane. He is not here if the fight breaks out at this inhibitor turret. Let's see if the fight is indeed coming. That is the position of the ball. That is lovely, lovely zoning from Divinus. The fear of the shockwave and not having the ADC means that this inhibitor is given away completely for free. The Pirates have got themselves a big lead in Game 4.
Even with Yarrow there, though, I gotta say, I don't know if they would have been able to make it work, because a Baron push this strong of a team that's so incredibly good in the 5v5 probably would have forced you to just back off from the inhibitor as well.
The ball positioning from Oriana is so good.
Exactly, and I think that the London Lionhearts can still get back, but it's got to be off the back of a mistake with the Portsmouth Pirates, and that's the issue. The Portsmouth Pirates identify that, wait a minute, we're getting out-rotated consistently. Like, this has been happening a lot this game, and ever since, they've just moved around grouped. They're always moving as a unit, and they're never giving the London Lionhearts a chance to get back in this game, because there is one way that I see the Lionhearts still get this. It's either, okay, I guess that's true, it's either a Baron throw, because that's always on the table.
Could always happen in these series.
Or they find a pick, a hook, a scatter the weak, they blow up a target, and then Yarrow comes up big. And that is still a possibility, don't be mistaken, but it is a small chance. And I think that the Portsmouth Pirates are in a great position, and these are the kind of traps that I want to see.
If, and it is a big if, that does happen, Chronicler, with those double Mountain Dragons, with the Tristana, they could shred through the base so very quickly, and we're approaching a moment where death timers are so incredibly long. The Baron buff still hasn't quite worn out. T is continuing his split pushing pressure. He's been able to do so much more than Dinojan in terms of split pushing this game, especially with this Baron buff now. He's going to get himself yet another turret free of charge.
And no one can match T 1v1, as Yarrow had a little bit of an awkward positioning there, but
he's
gets
got a
saved by
lantern.
the lantern. Exactly, he's not too afraid. And T always needs to, he's in the situation where Dinogen was earlier, where there's always needs to be 2 people to deal with him. This inner can't be saved whatsoever. You're just looking to keep your base alive here. Yes, your bot lane inhibitor is lost, but keep the rest of it all right, and you'll be able to manage.
Dinojan summons the Eulogy of the Isles. T is trying to turn the damage back. The Grandmaster's Might hasn't been used. The knockup is there. The Grandmaster's Might arrives way too late, and that is going to be the Void Rush getting the shutdown onto the Jack. One Baron member is gone, but look at the super minions on the bottom side of the map already reaching the Nexus turrets.
And I think they will be able to hold them off there. Should be fine. No Baron is spawning, but that means the end of the Baron buff here, and the game again slows down. And these are the plays the London Lionhearts need to find, and that leap strike getting cancelled with an excellent flash from Trudadon is amazing, but simultaneously it bought them time, but it means that Trudadon can't make any of those big plays for the next 5 minutes, right? And when he got his flash back again, I think that the Rek'Sai just becomes so much stronger, because once he's on top of a target, the knock-up, the upfront damage that you have with the Conqueror is insane,
and Rhydona is starting to reach a point where he's having had the biggest game thus far, but that doesn't matter if you're a Sivir approaching 4 items.
Trulodorn's done well, Trulodorn is strong, but let's tell it like it is. The side of the London Lionhearts would have loved some of those 6 kills to be on either Chirutsu or Yero. Every time they've won in this series, at this point in the game, there have been 5 or 6 kills on at least one of those 2 summoners.
And a lovely defensive play from the Portsmouth Pirates in this game, and I can't believe that this is the final that we're getting after that first game. Because you've got to imagine our surprise after seeing a 20k stomp, it going to a really competitive game number 2, a really competitive game number 3, because let's be honest, it was not like the Portsmouth Pirates definitely were out of that game.
Oh,
they were able
100%.
to
When they took the Baron, they could have won.
for so long, exactly. But it's the London Lionhearts who does from them to make it, and then for the Pirates to pivot into a more late game strategy here, into a team fighting composition with a nice control match for Divinus. It's been working out so well for them, and this is where the Pirates need to stay sharp. They need to be on top of that Baron every single second that it is up, because double Mountain Drake Tristana does not mess around when it comes to taking Barons, and they know this. And if the Portsmouth Pirates are aware, you can never take that Baron. There is too much engage, there's a shockwave, there's a Sivir, you can never get away with that.
Ocean Dragons have been equalised. That last dragon going down will be the last dragon before the Elder
Divinus
comes
isn't
up.
near this.
Look at this. Trulodorn clearing out that final little bit of vision in the pit. Look at T, however. He's continuing the split push. He has the teleport available. And right now, I'm not entirely sure who can match Jax. And with the super minions on his side as well, he's going to get into the base so very quick that if this Baron isn't taken almost immediately by the Lionhearts, we're going to see Jax in the base or teleporting in and just cleaning up a fight.
And Trulodor needs to get out of there, doesn't get knocked up, and that should be the end of that. We do see that T is making his way down the bot lane, but one of them should be able to back. I don't think we're actually going to see a team fight as both teams decide to back off, because it's also greedy for the Pirates to go for something here.
Dinojan is going back to deal with this, but I don't think he's strong enough to do it on his own, and this means that he either gets killed and maybe loses the base, or the Baron goes over.
But he should be able to hold the Nexus turrets, and that's what's really important here.
Scatter the weak onto 2, the Shockwave is going to miss. Now we see Trulodorn, he's on the backside, but if the jungler goes down, this could be the Baron going over the Portsmouth Pirates. Trulodorn trying to do everything he can. Stereo Shade is going to keep him alive. Look at Oliver, he's down. Chirutsu is going to be the one who gets that one. Now we see Trulodorn taking down the Jarvan. 2 are dead for the side of the Portsmouth Pirates. T having to flash away despite the Grandmaster's might. Stereo's Gage keeping him alive as well. He dashes back forward, he tries to get a kill to Dinojan, but with the huge in the Isles, the Maiden rips through the soul of Jax. The Baron is going to be secured. The London Lionhearts turn the game on its head. Teleport coming in. Chirutsu very low. The Baron almost killing him. Sivir still here with the Orianna trying to do everything they can. Divinus does not have the shockwave back up. Yero dashing forward. He's saving it. No! Divinus gets the kill onto Yero. And the blue team do pick up the Nasher. That's the London Lionhearts. They lose Yero, but they get everything else.
Unbelievable, because the hard engage on Trulodor, and it looks like it was the end of it. Once again, the man, the myth, the legend, Chirutsu, the damage that he's able to do completely demolishes all the Unshaven Tortoise, and that means that in conjunction with T, who uses all his damage on the inhibitor while Dinogen is hammering away at him, that this is in the end an advantageous trade. Although it's still not over for either team, because the Baron buff is huge, but there's also still an inhibitor down. T still is going to win that 1v1, I think, even with the Baron buff. But we're reaching a point in the game where I feel like either of the two teams can take it, because the team fighting from the London Lionhearts keeps impressing me. The way that they were able to completely negate that shockwave was incredible, and then Trulodor looks lost, but the committing from the rest
should
of the
have been
team.
so very dead.
And then they turn it around.
The Void Rush time to negate some of the damage. The Sterix Gauge pop gives him all that extra health, that tankiness. Then the team arrives. And my word, when the team arrives, so does the damage.
And I actually think with CZ Rots and the Ghouls making their way down that bot lane, that super minion really isn't going to do as much as it would in a lot of other situations. The fact that you can just set your undead army loose on that lane, combined with a little critter from the ZZ Rots portal, means that there actually isn't as much pressure as you might think from the bot lane inhibitor being down here.
It feels bad to call Divinus out because he's been so good across this split in the mid lane. However, his shockwave not catching onto anyone. It was flashed away by one.
It was expertly disengaged by as well.
It absolutely was, but it not catching it, not being up for the remainder of the fight. In fact, coming off cooldown about a second or two after he died, it unfortunately was the thing that led to the turnaround of the fight. And even though he was able to take down Yero as Yero tried to jump on his face, it just wasn't going to be enough. Dinojan trying to get a repeat performance, but this time the Eulogy of the Isles is not going to be
can't.
able to help Dinojan. One Baron buff is going to be gone. Let's see what the side of the Pirates are going to be able to do. Can they turn things around? Look at this extension. Teleport is available for the Jacks. Do they have a way in behind this Lionheart's team? Looking at the vision, there is that small ward that we can see in near the red buff for the side of the Pirates. If they can get in behind the Lionhearts, that could mean danger. The Elder Dragon spawns in less than 1 minute. Immediately disengage coming through. Teleport not available from Dinojan. Cataclysm used onto Trudorn. I don't think he's got a way out this time. He uses a tunnel. He tries to get to safety, but the Glacial Fish is going to tag him just very slightly. Siva gets the shutdown onto the Rek'Sai. Trudorn finally dying in this epic final. Look at the Elder Dragon. 10 seconds until spawn, and immediately the priority is obviously there for the Pirates with the jungler dead. I don't see a world in which this is contested.
And the Portsmouth Pirates really don't get that much out of the Elder Dragon, all things considered, but it's more about taking it away from the London Lions.
Absolute denial.
With the 3 elemental drakes would make such great use of it, and that means that we're probably going to go to a point where the game is currently at, unless we get a huge blowout team fight. Well, we're going to have to wait for the next Elder Dragon. We're going to have to wait for the next Baron, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Dinogen just can't win this matchup late because the damage from T, the 1v1 is not winnable at this point in time. Jax just demolishes almost everyone in the 1v1 late game, and that is an issue that you're not going to be able to work around. With a turret there, I think that Dinogen is fine, but they need to find an answer to the Jax solution. But the problem is the rest of the team fight from the Portsmouth Pirates is no slouch either, and they need something perfect. Yarrow, I've been loving his forward jumps, but one of them needs to pop off big, because if he doesn't get the reset, as we saw happen 2 times now, then he will get blown up. But this is the type of play that the London Lions need to make. Yarrow does need to come up big, because if they let this game go on for 4, 5, 10 more minutes, I think that chances are going to be smaller and smaller as the team fight composition is going to be so incredibly strong.
Yarrow steps forward, puts the explosive charge on top of T. The knockup is there, and multiple charges are now being laid down. T trying to leap strike himself to safety is going to be able to get away. Potential re-engage coming in now as Oliver throws down the Glacial Fisher. It's not going to catch on to anybody, and Oliver himself takes a significant amount of damage. One of the items we've not seen a huge amount of since its recent introduction to the game is that Spear of Shojin, but there it is for Jax, and we saw just how useful it could be to him in that last fight.
And the Spear of Shojin, of course, with the active when you with the passive when you use your ultimate, gives you so much more damage. It gives you shorter cooldowns. It makes you so much stronger in a 1v1. And champions like Riven, champion like Jax with a really short ultimate cooldown as well, just love it when you get even more use out of the items. That synergizes so incredibly well. We're starting to see more stopwatches everywhere, and like I said, Dinogen, I think he can match him in a 1v1 if there's a turret, or if T has to waste his time trying to fight minions, trying to fight an inhibitor.
I'd love to
going to happen.
I'd love to know. Oh, hold on a second. Regan looking for the catch, but instead it's he who is caught by the shockwave. Knocked up. Cataclysm on top of him. Divinus picks up the kill onto Regan. Now 5 versus 4 in favour of the side of Portsmouth Pirates, and Yorick is nowhere to be seen. This could be the end of the game. If Yarrow dies, he's going to go down. Rhydona getting that kill, and now Trudorn unable to stop the onslaught of the 5 members of the Portsmouth Pirates. They haven't quite got a wave with them, but with the longest of death timers, nearly a minute apiece, this is going to be the end of the game. We are going to Silver Scrapes. This grand final is going to be the true best of 5 that we all wanted to see. Nexus turret number 1 being tanked up by Shaven Tortoise and Oliver. They're going to be able to get this one easily. There's nothing Dinojan can do. He's put down the Eulogy of the Isles. The Maiden doing everything she can to defend the base, but it is all in vain. This game goes to the Portsmouth Pirates 2-all in the most epic of Belong Arena Clash finals.
That's not a reverse sweep, but it's about as close as we're going to get here. Being down 1-0 after getting smashed, then a 2-game win streak from the London Lionhearts, and then the Portsmouth Pirates show we can pivot, we can take on a straight game, and I'm going to be looking at the draft. I think that the Yorick pick, while working out nicely for them in game number 1, that blind pick was punished so heavily, and it really feels to me like you can look at the comp, you can look at some of the shot calling, but the London Lionhearts, they needed to force things. You could see that play from Rhydona and go, why are you trying to force something? But you can't do a 5v5. You need to hook someone. You need to get something going, because you're always going to lose the split push game, so you need to force something. And just an excellent draw from the Pirates. They were able to weather the mid game. They were able to hold off Dinogen getting caught out one too many times, leading to a situation in which the rest of the team couldn't use the Baron buff. Then Trudorn gets caught, and just a lovely draft. And now I want to see both teams go for just hyper scaling. Like, honestly, I want to see another 40-minute game. Them just both go for these big team fight compositional wise. This game was over when they couldn't do anything with their Baron.
I thought this best of 5 series has had it all, but now it's got something extra special. The deciding game. Silver Scrapes. I don't know if we're allowed to play it for copyright reasons or not, but you guys out there should definitely get it on if we're not going to put it on, because there is nothing more hype than da-na-na before Game 5. We'll see you for that very shortly.
Can you see the stars align? A night like this can never rewind. Can you hear the wolf cry out to the light? A night like this will never shine so bright. So take a couple steps back as you hear me start to hum. Take a couple steps back when I lose all control. Watch me turn into a werewolf, and I will hunt till the break of dawn. Don't you dare to try to stop me. This is the horn of the black swan. Take a couple steps back as you hear me start to hum. Take a couple steps back when I lose all control. Watch me turn into a werewolf, and I will hunt till the break of dawn. Don't you dare to try to stop me. This is the horn of the black swan.
One thing is for certain, neither team truly deserves to lose this incredible grand final. Unfortunately, one of them must, and whoever does win, they will be deserving of it, because it's been an incredible series and a really fantastic split for the Belong Arena Clash.
It's been incredible.
And who could have thought that when you see this game start, when you see the first game in the series, they go in and they beat by 20, get beaten rather by 20k gold, and I feel like I've repeated it so many times, but it's so baffling to me, because what we saw there didn't look like a game in the finals. It looked like a game between one of the bottom tier teams of the group and the Portsmouth Pirates. And then in game number 2, game number 3, game number 4, all of these games have been highly competitive, so incredibly close. And we're going to see a repeat of the Zareth and Caitlyn bands. I would not be surprised if we see the Aurelia, the Tom Cancel, so still taking away the Cassiopeia, the Vayne. These are the picks that we know these two teams can perform on. And I think, I'm going to make a bold statement here before pick and banners happen, I think that based on the sides here, we're going to see the London Lionhearts take it. And
Wow.
it's because of the top lane counter pick, because that top lane has been pivotal in every single game. We've seen that even with the greedy draft that we saw from the Portsmouth Pirates, where they go for a really good teamfight composition, if Dinogen wouldn't permanently lose that 1v1 to T, I think with the Baron that they were able to secure in the last game, they would have been able to make it. But no worries there this time, because Jax is banned.
Yeah, not going to be seeing that in the top lane on either side of the Rift. Again, the potential flex pick is there. Shaven Tortoise obviously taking the Jarvan in the last game. Chronicler, the time for hyping up these teams is over. The time for listening to Silver Scrapes has gone. This is the time for the tactics that may be what wins or loses you this incredible series.
Already we see the pivot, the Brom, and I love a Sejuani pick up here. I think that's a really good call. The Brom makes sure that you don't run the risk of facing an AD carry that is like the Lucian, that is really strong, and the Brom to add to that. The Sejuani will be a good pick up here because it provides more CC. The game that they won, they were able to do it, and perhaps most importantly, the London Lionhearts had a hard time closing out game number 1, or the last game rather. They had no chance of closing out game number 1. That was very well done by the Pirates.
It would have been incredible if they did.
And this is already starting to look like a teamfight composition. More importantly, Brom also deals well with something like a Sivir, but also with the Ornn that we see banned previously. I don't know if we're actually going to see it happen, see it come out. And Sivir picked up again here for Rhydona.
Yeah, Brom of course is able to negate a decent amount of the Sivir damage coming through, but yet again, this is an example of what we're going to see the Portsmouth Pirates looking to do throughout this draft, because they have been almost a split identity team. So constantly we have seen from them the early game pressure. However, in that last game that they won, they pivoted towards having more late game potential, and the Sivir says that we're happy to do that again. We're happy to wait things out, and they're going to have to wait things out against another massive damaging threat in the late game, and that is Kai'Sa.
And Kai'Sa and Sivir really are kind of different, where Kai'Sa does a lot of burst damage with the plasma stacks, and if she's able to get ahead, the killer instinct can feel super
Sivir's just
oppressive.
consistent boomerangs.
Exactly, and I think that in a like really late game scenario in team fights, you're gonna go for the Sivir over the Kai'Sa, because Kai'Sa needs to be in a closer range, and with a Jarvan and a Galio, that's quite a spooky setup to play against as the Kai'Sa. However, the objective control from the London Lions has been good. Besides that one Baron throw, they've actually been able to secure more and more dragons, secure more and more Barons, and the Kai'Sa really helps them with that.
Chronicler, I love this Orianna ban. It makes so much sense considering what Divinus was able to do and what he brought to the team in the late game last time around. We're also seeing the Furum removed from T, so another of the big split push pressure champs that maybe could counter the Yorick, which I would be almost surprised not to see as the first pickup of this next stage if we don't see it banned away now.
I don't know if T really wants to go for the Yorick. The Hackroom has been over.
Sorry, I mean for Dinogen.
Oh yeah, of course. I don't want to. No, you want to see a Yorick pick here?
I do.
No, you don't blind pick Yorick now, even with the Jax getting banned, because even though Dinogen has had a good performance, though, that you go for the last pick, top laner here, and they go for the Azir Chiruzu getting a pick that's already been banned away from them, because as I was saying before, I feel like the top lane is the most pivotal matchup we've seen consistently. Chiruzu able to outplay Divinus, who we're now for the first time in the series going to see on the Zillion, one of his most comfortable picks, and an incredible late game carry who's able to keep the Sivir alive throughout everything.
It doesn't do quite the same job the Orianna does, but it almost in some ways does things better. You know, the speed up is there to already incredible speed.
Exactly, in terms of keeping it alive, I think it's better, of course, with the ultimate.
Suddenly Jarvan jumps in and maybe he's not got the shockwave around him, but he can survive for that much longer potentially.
And this is where they're forced to blind pick the Swain, and I'm not the biggest fan of this. I feel like the Swain is a strong pick, but don't forget the game that we saw them lose was also where they went for the Swain. I mean, they also murdered a game of Swain, but it was a position where there was a counter pick available to Dinogen, and it all comes down to this pick. And I would absolutely love a Vladimir here. You're going to get a fairly easy lane against the Swain because his burst damage isn't too threatening, and what is better in late game than an Azir Vladimir team fight?
I had forgotten we had a Swain in game 1. Do you know why, Mal? Because it was 15 hours ago that game started. This series started
a really long series,
really quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
And there we are seeing T going back to his roots on this one, just what he started the series off with. He's going to go up against the Vladimir. Interesting mix, that one.
I love it. I think Dinogen
For who?
actually... I love it for the Lionhearts. I think that they get a comfortable matchup. right? Because I think that the Swain can bully the Vlad a little bit, but the survivability that he has is so good that it's actually going to be hard for the Swain, in my opinion at least, to really put the pedal to the metal. And that's kind of what you're doing. You want to shut Vlad down early because he outskills almost everyone in the game. He definitely outskills the Swain here, and there is some early pressure for the top half of the map because in a straight up teamfight scenario, there is a lot of tankiness with the Swain and with the Galio. There is a lot of CC available as well, and I don't think it's a clear-cut win. I feel like last time we saw very clear-cut that in a late game scenario, the team fight for the Portsmouth Pirates is a lot stronger. We've seen the London Lionhearts lose games where it felt like their team comp should be a lot stronger. We've seen them win them. Here, it's hard for me to call. It's an even one. I feel like in an ultra late game scenario, the question is who can carry harder, Rydona or Charuzu and Dinojan, because the Kaiser is a really strong late game carry, but as I said before, there's a lot of threat. There's the Taunt. Now there's also the Swain, who, yes, he has short range, but if you get close to him, if you get pulled in, you're guaranteed to get blown up. Now Shaven Tortoise, based on what we saw last game, is probably going to go for a lot of tankiness again. So there's going to be a beefy front line. There's going to be good front to back for both these teams because Brom Sejuani is no front line to scoff at either. And I expect to see this be a very, very slow game because imagine giving up first blood here. Imagine taking a risk and it not working out. Neither of these teams want that to happen.
Chronicler, a long time ago in a galaxy just over there, you made a prediction after game 1 that we would see a 3-2 win in this series for the London Lionhearts. You've now seen the final draft of the series. Do you stand by your prediction?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm very confident. If the Portsmouth, don't get me wrong, I think that this is a 60-40 matchup, right? Like, we've seen the Portsmouth Pirates. I think if you play this game 10 times, 2 out of 10, the Portsmouth Pirates just snowball and win. Like, we've know that they can do this. We've seen that if they're able to generate early tempo leads, they are way better at closing out a game and pushing the envelope than the London Lions have been. But with these compositions, I think unless we see Radona get hugely ahead, unless we see Dinogen getting shut out of the game, Azir, Vladimir, Kaiser late game, that scares me. There's a good beefy front line. We know that they love these team fight styles. You have a good objective taking team with the Azir and the Kaiser. All in all, I love it. I think that it's going to be an amazing match. I'm going to go with the London Lionhearts because, let's be honest, who doesn't love an underdog? And they might not have been down 2-0, but they were down 20k goal, which almost counts for as much.
No matter who wins this game, history is going to be made.
We've won.
We certainly are winners in this, and anybody who's been watching this wonderful series is. But both of these teams have their own individual story. The side of the Lionhearts, they have already made themselves the Kingslayers by beating the last split's champions, the Clyde Claymores, in the semi-finals. Now they want to make themselves giant killers by taking down the 4-time Belong Arena Clash League of Legends winners, the Portsmouth Pirates, who in turn are desperately seeking their 5th crown, which is so important to some of these players, especially as I think it's Ollie, who's won 3 of those titles, will be leaving after this game as he's finishing his time at university in Portsmouth.
I remember when we started the series, we always talk to the teams and we ask both of them, so what do you expect? What do you expect coming out of this game? Because you might have missed that if you didn't see it yesterday. And both of these two teams, in absolute... This is where I started being wait, London Lionhearts, you're serious about this,
100%.
right? But from the Portsmouth Pirates, we expect they said, we're going to free out them. Easy. We're going to...
Which we expected,
we're
to
going
be honest. From them, as in the attitude.
Exactly. And also, I would not have been surprised. It would have been the scoreline. They're really, really strong. So, we going up 2-0. We're going to sub in Officer Naughty. We're going to have a giggle. It's going to be amazing. And the London Lions were like, no, we're going to free out them. It's going to be easy. We're going to get them. No problem whatsoever. Both teams were wrong because this has been an incredibly competitive series.
But that moment, those conversations, that was when this series changed in my perception of what could happen. It was the moment I believed in the London Lionhearts almost as much as they did. And it was also the moment I felt like both teams were wrong about saying they were going to go 3-0 because they both clearly had confidence. They both shown throughout the split they could do well. The Portsmouth Pirates were unbeaten in best-of-3 series across the entire split. The only game they dropped was in groups. It was to the London Lionhearts. And here we have it. Fnatic and IG from Worlds in the same group, facing off in the finals at Worlds. I keep on saying it because I still believe in this Lionheart story. Fnatic, they won the group. Invictus Gaming won the final. Portsmouth Pirates won the group. The Lionhearts are one game of League of Legends away from taking the final.
Can you imagine the pressure that is on both of these two teams? And that's also what I was saying, the tension that is going to be with those players right now. As I'd like to draw the attention here, the Chiruzu identifying that's been able to get the better hand of this series of his lane the last 2 times has gone for Ignite Azir, and that is a bold statement that I love to see him follow up with. The Divinus went for the cleanse, which against Sejuani Braum makes a lot of sense, but that does mean that if the Ignite doesn't get cleansed early enough, we actually might see Chiruzu have some real kill pressure here. They go for some vision, and like I said, I think both of these 2 teams are so scared here of making a misstep, and once the first blood starts to fall, all hell will break loose. But I will not be surprised if we go another 10 minutes without seeing any action.
Well, let's find out if that is the case. It'll probably play slightly more into the Pirates' hands as they opt into this slightly later game playstyle that they've become almost new to, but also doing a good job of in the last game, and also coming into this Champ Select. Do look, however, at what Jarvan is doing, looking for the potential invade.
They're going to match those.
Shaven Tortoise, it just doesn't matter how later game scaling comp he goes for. He wants these early plays, whether they be ganks or enemy counter jungling.
And I think that he's going to get away with it. I thought if Trulodon would have pathed there, we might have actually seen an early skirmish. But now the red buff will get taken. This is, I think, not a worst case scenario for Trulodon. But if Dinogen is not careful, he is going to get ganked. And the ward does not spot him. He won't have the pool available yet, I think.
Vladimir is going to try and get away from the flag and drag. Has to use his flash. Dinojan losing a key summoner spell. Yet again, Shaven Tortoise, early game impact for days.
And I think that Trulodon will be able to pick up the top side scuttle here before Shaven Tortoise can get him. Has the smite available, and it should go over to him. And that in turn means that we might actually see him not fall too far behind. Shaven Tortoise probably path towards top side, but the Krugs are still there. And Trulodon on a farming jungler can afford to give up a red buff here as long as it doesn't matter too much. I do want to note that Dinogen a little greedy though with the skill up, because if he would have waited with leveling his up instead of going for his E, would have waited for the pull. He could have just pulled that and not having to waste his flash early on.
Okay, now let's see whether or not Shaven Tortoise's early ganks will again set him behind in the early game. We find him a camp down to Sejuani already. The level advantages will start to creep in for Trulodon if Shaven Tortoise continues to apply pressure in lane. However, the advantages that he seems to gain for his teams seem well worth it.
And Trulodon is going for, I thought was going to go for a risky gank, but decides the better of it. Will instead go for an invade onto the jungle, and Yarrow and Regan need to be careful because Shaven Tortoise is waiting in the brush, but will back off there, and now we're going to see a little bit of vertical jungling here. Yeah,
nice freeze from Yarrow and Regan, meaning there's no opportunity for the flag and drag to cause them any sort of trouble. No summoner spells being burnt on the London Lionheart's bot lane. Jarvan does step into jungle, deciding not to take any camps away from Sejuani. Sejuani, however, has no such respect for the Jarvan, immediately going in, taking away the Gromp.
And that's interesting to me. It means that Trulodon won't be falling too far behind. And we also have the gank on top here.
Dinojan steps forward. He does get rooted by T, but here comes Trulodon looking for the potential and knock-up. He's going to wait things out, trying to get the stun. 2 more strikes are needed. We still haven't seen the dash out of Trulodon. He decides not to go for it in the end, not managing to get the stun onto T. T not burning any summoners, playing it so safely, sensibly, and now he does get himself knocked up, however. Not burning the flash still. He's so very safe. Swain playing this one much better than Vladimir and Sejuani, who actually take almost as much damage.
What it does do though, and this is perhaps more important, that even though you don't really force anything, you buy some pressure. You force T to use a lot of mana, and Dinogen, he just wants to get through this lane. Don't be mistaken, this is like the last time, as we see the back getting cancelled, and this might be over-ambitious from T.
Yeah, T did step forward, he stopped Trulodon, and he managed to pull him back. He flashes forward, looking for the kill, the flash for flash, but now it is Dinogen who's able to pull up, got consistent damage. First blood coming on the back of a greedy play from T, the Portsmouth Pirates top laner.
That is so huge, because this is the one matchup where you can't afford to fall behind early. That Dinogen with the early first blood here means that he will be able to skill so much easier into the mid game. He has the phase rush, he has the teleport back, he's not going to lose any CS here. And Swain falling behind early is a worst case scenario for the Portsmouth Pirates, because you know you're getting outskilled in the lane, but Swain can really bully, and Trulodon, really against all odds, because I didn't think that it was going to work out there, is able to pick up a kill for his laner.
It was very, very surprising, if I'm perfectly honest. It's not like T had the ignite to get the extra damage onto Sejuani to secure the first blood. The respect flash immediately from Trulodon keeps himself safe, gets kill for his top laner, and look at that first purchase. The Phoenix Codex already got for Dinojan.
and that's going to make it so much easier for him. The cooldown reduction mean that he will be able to use more and more transfusions, and as we go, the damage from T is going to be less and less relevant. Now a big wave will be pushing in, so Daniel a little bit behind, needs to be careful for the level 6, but I'm sure he will be more than mindful of that, as the Ocean Dragon is getting pinged here, and with the priority that they have, the position of Trulodorn, I'm not be surprised if they are wanting to go for it here, but it looks like it's just a scuttle for now, maybe going to go for it after a little bit. It looks like the London Lionhearts just want to give that up, and I don't think that's a back call.
Oliver and Rhydona there stood on a ward for the longest of times. It's going to be pretty clear what the intention of the Pirates are as we see the two bot laners just disappearing up towards the Drake. It's definitely going to be secured by the Portsmouth Pirates. The London Lionhearts not looking like they're able to get any sort of gain as the Plasma comes in too early.
There's no need. It's an Ocean Drake, which means your lanes are going to be really happy with that. It's a nice boost for the Swain as well. And Zillion, both kind of mana hogs who really need a little bit of help wherever they can get it. And we see already a CS lead here starting to happen for Charuza, who has been one of the pivotal carries for the London Lionhearts, and his Azir has been banned away before because he's so incredibly strong on it. Now the Ocean Drake is nice, there's still a sizable gold lead here for the Lionhearts, and at least in terms of early game, it's not a lot of action. We don't expect there to be. Divinus keeps getting poked down here, but as the Zillion, you have so much built-in survivability.
Alright, this is a slow burner of a game. The first blood was indeed picked up, however we're 7 minutes in and that's just the one kill that has happened. Both teams happy to scale up, getting their power spikes. Just the 800 gold lead in favour of the team that got first blood. That's the London Lionhearts. They've been 2-1 up in this series. They've also been 1-0 down as this whole tournament deciding final here has really been seesawing back and forwards. There's one final turn to be made. Who will end up on the top? Who will be at the bottom? And
there's no flash available, but Shaven Tortoise is sensing that there might be a repeat gank on top lane, and Trulodorn, even though he wasn't spotted, did get pinged that we'll be going for a lane gank here, and Shaven Tortoise backing off instead of backing his top laner up. We might see some action there, and if another kill is given over to Dinojan here, if T goes for a reset of this wave or gets greedy and try to get some damage down on him, I would not be surprised if we're going to see him taken down again. It is Swain, he is tanky, it is fairly hard, but Dinojan can burst a lot here.
That is a crucial ward Sejuani is stood on top of. Not only is this letting Swain know he needs to keep himself safer, it's also giving information to both the other lanes saying you can just do whatever you want to right now, there's no chance of jungle pressure.
And I think that at one point they need to suspect something is off.
T's baiting this. He's waiting for Shaven Tortoise. The pool is used by Dinojan. Shaven Tortoise does not have the ultimate available, whereas Trulodorn does. He's going to get the lockdown onto Shaven Tortoise, who has to flash himself away. Dinojan still very low. Demonic Ascension is going to force the flash. Dinojan getting himself to safety. T's explosion of damage does not catch on to anyone. Trulodorn just playing around, throwing his W down. Going to be able to dash to safety. Flag and drag not catching on. Shaven Tortoise still not got the ultimate. The pullback is going to be there, and that is going to be T. The massive damage that really I did not expect to come through from the Swain at the end, picking up the kill, and now another slightly greedy overstay from one of the players in top lane leads to an equalization of the kills.
The grade ward, meaning that it is easy for the Portsmouth Fire to set up a blade. I feel like that was a best case scenario. If they were a little bit greedy, if they'd gone in too early there, and Jarvan was actually able to knock them up underneath the turret, it would have been an absolute atrocity. Dinogen, though, he says, I'm not scared of you guys, immediately goes back to the turret, is approaching that level 9 mark. Now, the kill means that this lane is even again, but don't be mistaken, that's not a position you want to be in as the Swain, because Swain is going to become a big beefy monster, but he's not going to have the same amount of impact that Vladimir will have as we continue into this game. And I'm loving, almost 7 minutes in, yes there's an Ocean Drake, but besides that, this game is dead even.
Alrighty, the only real significant CS difference is going to be that of Azir finding himself an 11 gap over the Zillion, who's already got himself a catalyst in comparison to that lost chapter for the Azir.
The Lost Chapter is really nice in terms of the extra sustain he gives you, and Charuzu gets the blue buff from his jungler. Trulodorn, that was an unfortunate play there. I like the idea behind it, but thanks to a really nice ward from T, that play did not work out as well as they would have liked to. No man overboard though. There still is plenty of opportunity both these teams. They both don't really want to do anything, and this is interesting to me as well because it also signifies that they're both really confident in their team fighting and late game capabilities, which is something that traditionally we've seen the Portsmouth Fires do well in, but it's more about the early game, whereas with the London Lionhearts they've already shown that they can play those scenarios really well. And I keep getting back to this composition. If you give the Azir and the Vladimir the time to just 3D skill up. Yes, you have the Civi yourself, but I don't know if that's going to be enough, as we see a bot lane gank waiting to happen.
Sejuani completed that recall. If Jarvan were to make any kind of play here, it would
Look at
completely
that.
be uncounted.
The
But the nicely
spider
timed
senses.
plasma from the Kaiser is going to keep Braum and herself safe. We have got a Cloud Dragon coming to a rift near you in around about 1 minute.
I'd like to draw attention to the insane CS from both Yarrow and Rodona. I mean, Chiruzu's doing even better, but they've are always at exactly the same CS numbers every single wave, because he's going to be at 100 now, and then if they don't miss anyone, they come back. It's just going to keep going like that. It's just a back and forth ping pong pedal with both of these laners continuously finding the same amount of CS. We see a slight lead now for Chiruzu starting to happen, and Rod of Ages for Zalud and Zako. The damage is going to be there, and Divinus hasn't really been challenged yet because Chiruzu doesn't need to get anything going early on, right? It's too easy for him to just default in that lane and take it to late, as Dynagen has now hit level 9 and has the max level available on his transfusion, meaning that his laning is going to be easier, and once he gets the second Hemoplague, he's going to feel very good about it. Trulodon dashes away and avoids certain death.
Herald is, of course, available, as is that Cloud Dragon now. We are nearly 12 minutes into the game. Turret plating will be falling off in just a couple of minutes. Stopwatch is active and available for the Swain.
And that is a really big, with how good the ultimate is. Trulodon again does not get tagged by the flag and drag, meaning that he can just get out of there. Probably forced to flash here.
Absolutely is. Shaven Tortoise getting himself an extra level courtesy of the Zillion, plus the speed up. Cataclysm is going to get the flash out of the Sejuani. Definitely going to affect if there is any attempt for any kind of steal, if a Herald or a Dragon play is started anytime soon. Shaven Tortoise himself, of course, is still flashless for another minute.
Don't expect that we're actually going to see the Herald come through, although if Trulodon doesn't decide to go for some vision there, which currently he's going for his rep buff, might actually see Shaven Tortoise pick that up. That is really good, because the Portsmouth Pirates would like some early game pressure here, and a Rift Herald can really provide them with that, as we see now double stacking Rod of Ages. Both T and Divinus able to finish that item, and with the Demonic Ascension, the amount of sustain that you get is absurd. Dynagen going for the 1v1 here.
Dynagen does have the full charge. Herald going down to Jarvan and Zillion will be enough to make Dynagen think twice about any kind of engage onto Swain, knowing that there are multiple members who can come and visit him in the top lane. The Portsmouth Pirates still looking for some kind of pick. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, here comes Sejuani throwing the ultimate down. Only going to get slow onto Oliver. The taunt is going to land onto Braum. Rodona and Oliver immediately get themselves to safety. Pressure is available now for the Dragon if Sejuani wants to take it, but the Herald has been summoned in top lane. The turret plates have not yet fallen off, and this charge is going to knock down so much gold for the Portsmouth Pirates.
But it's not going to T, it's just going to Shaven Tortoise, and that's actually huge, because the solo gold on your Jarvan isn't nearly as useful as it would be on the Swain.
Pull back onto Dynagen. He has to use the pull defensively. Only one more turret plate remaining. Dynagen doing everything that he can. Of course, he doesn't have the pull. He does have the flash. It's not enough to save him. T goes a golden. Does not take any more turret aggro. Shaven Tortoise will take a couple of turret shots. You're going to see Rydona chasing on Sejuani, who just soloed out of that dragon. Chiruzu decided he wants the engage. Here comes Kaiser with the killer instinct, putting the damage down. Yarrow dashing away after Chiruzu manages to pick up the kill onto Rydona. Bomb will pick up the kill onto the Kaiser. Oliver trying to get to safety, but one more hit from Regan will stun him up. The ignite still ticking. Oliver looks like he's going to get to safety. He dashes back in though, and that is his doom. Chiruzu picks up another kill, and on the back of a Cloud Dragon, on the back of first turret going over to Portsmouth Pirates, it is the side of London Lionhearts who get a couple of crucial kills.
And Yarrow there with a key evolve already, with the Storm Razor finished, but it's Chiruzu picking up the kills, and we were touting him earlier on the big win condition together with the Vladimir. Games where Chiruzu gets ahead are good for the London Lions. Now, last time he was 2-0 as well, and then on the Syndra he wasn't able to make a bigger impact, but this time on the Azir it's a completely different ball game, as it is a champion that is going to feel so comfortable as you keep getting further and further. The second item, that Nasher Stoof, is going to be finished, and your soldiers are going to shred through your opposing team's lane. Is now a really nice play there on Dynagen, means that there's still a lot of gold, and this is why we see the gold lead that we have for the Portsmouth Pirates in conjunction to the first turret bot getting picked up there. But the Cloud Dragon and the gold on Chiruzu at least keep this game relevant. Now the London Lions need to be careful not to keep continuously hemorrhaging objectives.
Dynagen caught out by the flag and drag. Trulodon is here for the support. We've got the top laners and the junglers duking things out. Stun is going to land on to Shaven Tortoise, but the kill's already been picked up on Vladimir. T getting this one for himself. Now chasing down Trulodon. Dash not available. The pullback is there. Double kill for the Swain. Such a crucial pickup for the Pirates.
If Hemoplague was available there at the start of the fight, that
would have changed everything
completely differently, but instead the Pirates are sensing that they need to up the pressure, and T He wasn't doing that great, but now with repeated attention from Shaven Tortoise, some really nice. They're the ones carrying the team at the moment. They're the ones putting out all the pressure, and they need to do so. This Swain needs to become as big as they possibly can get him, and they're doing so expertly. We know that the Portsmouth Forest can take a lead and run with it, and look at this gold lead here, because it's going to take so much longer now for Dinogen to be in a position where he's going to be relevant. Yes, if he finishes the Sonya's Hourglass, the Death Gap, and the Hextech Proto belt, he's still going to be as relevant as any Vladimir could possibly be. But for now, the London Lionhearts need to look at their play. They need to play more defensively. They need to be careful of Shaven Tortoise, who is a tanky beast at the moment thanks to that gold he was able to pick up all over the map. And they need to wait for Trulodon to be a little bit stronger. They need to wait for Yarrow to hit the Rage Blade, and then they can start making plays.
A very significant lead for T, but let's throw some love Tarutsu's way, because that play around the Dragon Pit as he made the bold play to re-engage as Sejuani was being chased away was a big reason why he has now got himself that big gold lead himself. A 200 bounty on his head, reflecting how he is able to out-CS, out-kill the Zillion so far. The 2-0 Azir definitely has damage. It's going to be online very, very soon, if it's not already.
And with the amount of lockdown available, I'm actually surprised we don't see more attention towards the bot side here, because the flash taunt from a Galio is so incredibly strong, followed up with a Cataclysm or a Flag and Drag engage. It's actually really hard to find some proper counterplay to that. What is important to me though is that Radona, who needs to be one of the big carries, hasn't really gotten going. That's okay. He just needs that the timer for when he's going to be able to actually shred through that team, and the Zillion ulti on top of him is going to be really relevant, is just put further and further away. Now the Proto Belt is finished for Dinojan, but in a straight up laning matchup, especially with the Zonya's Hourglass finished, he's not going to have a good time anywhere near soon, as he will be on the receiving end of a lot of hurt, will be able to sustain a little bit, but if Shaven Tortoise ever visits this lane, it's not going to be great for him.
Here comes Jarvan wandering his way into the bot lane. Rhydona, of course, not there. This is just Jarvan trying to defend the turret from being taken. No turret plates to be gained for Sivir, so the only objective here is if they are actually able to knock down their first turret of the game, but it's just not going to happen. The 2,000 gold lead for the Portsmouth Pirates, who continue to show in this 5th game of the series that their recent switch to playing later game champions is still working for them. This was brand new to what we've seen that they can do this split. Every other composition we've seen has been completely focused around winning early game, but they've changed things around. They have adapted, they have evolved, and right now they find themselves in the better place in this grand final.
And the third dragon now, which barely can't see there in the top left of the screen. If it's an Infernal or a Mountain, I'm expecting to see a lot of action over it, and I do think that with the item spikes currently being it, there is an opportunity for the London Lionhearts to make a big play happen there, but it is risky.
Infernal.
And they need to be so careful.
Flag and drag lands from Shaven Tortoise as he looks to try and contest his scuttle grab, takes it for himself, an extra speedy burst for Zillion and for Sivir, who are already so very fast. Shaven Tortoise clearing out the vision around this dragon. It's an Infernal, and there is no possible way that this is not contested. Dinojan and T both have the teleports available, but right now T is nearer to the fight, and I say there's no way it's going to be contested. It's not going to be contested. I'm proved immediately wrong, because the respect is shown by the London Lionhearts. They don't want to fight right now. They know they're behind, and they've gotten further behind because the Infernal Dragon is easily picked up at 19 minutes by the Portsmouth Pirates.
I think this is the last objective that you can afford to give up like this. Like this Infernal Dragon, I'm willing to concede. I'm saying, okay, you can do this, but please, London Lionhearts, don't get discouraged by the fact that this is such a high-pressure game. It's the 5th game in the best of 5. These players are mentally and physically exhausted, having had such a long evening yesterday. We now see another turret fall. It's 2 turrets against 0, and the composition of the Lionhearts allows for some crazy comebacks. And the gold lead, it's there, but it really isn't that big. 3k gold at 20 minutes is more than surmountable with a composition like it. Nash's Tooth is now finished for Chiruzu. And the Portsmouth Pirates, they're taking control of this game, as we know that they can do so well. We've seen it so many times in the Belong Arena Clash, whenever we actually got the chance to see them, because we barely didn't, because they stomped everyone. Here we are, the 3rd game, 20 minutes in. There's a sizable gold lead, 3k, but it's definitely not insurmountable. We got a hyper-scaling composition from the Lionhearts. We got a really good late game as well from the Pirates. An Infernal Drake down, and everything can happen.
I have concerns for the London Lionhearts, our underdog in this fantastic tale at the Belong Arena Clash finals. Seeing them give up objectives like that Infernal Dragon, like that free turret in the bot lane, that was kind of okay when they were playing against the early game composition to give away a couple of things, not let the gold lead expand too far. But doing against this composition where we've got Rhydona, who's now got an Infinity Edge and the Zeal completed, you've already got Swain so far ahead. My concern is that actually going to be a way back? Yes, they've got the potential to win late game fights, but if they keep on giving things up like that, there's a difference between being passive and just giving the game away.
Like I said, I think this is the last objective you can afford to give up in this way.
100%.
Obviously, they can't give away Baron. If the next one is a Cloud Dragon, I'll be willing to concede that because it just doesn't do that much for their opposing team. And they're starting to hit these item spikes that we talked about earlier now. We see the Rageblade just about finished for Yarrow. We see Chiruza has the Nashor Stove available, and I think that if Dinogen is able to pick up his Rabadon's Death Cap, that's what we're going to see the first explosive play from the London Lionhearts. And it will in fact be a Cloud Dragon, and that is really good for the Lionhearts because it buys them
best case
so
scenario.
much more time as long as they don't get caught and don't give up a Baron.
Oh, that's going to be the taunt, not quite landing as the pull is used. Meanwhile, Regan not having anyone to jump to. Tarutsu steps a little closer, but this could mean a bomb from Zillion landing right on top of his head. Shaven Tortoise looking to continue the chase, but that is not going to happen. Nice safety plays coming in as both Dinojan and Regan show that they can keep themselves alive in what is a high-pressure environment.
And that's actually a lot of ultimates being used at both Cataclysm and the Hero's Entrance, mean that Regan gets caught again.
This time he has to use his flash, use the Glacial Fissure trying to get the knockup, but this time Regan is going to die, and it's Rhydona who secures this kill on the Sivir. Yarrow trying to throw down damage, but just does not have anywhere near enough to try and take down T right now. Swain pulls back Kaiser, forces the flash out of Rhydona. Now, sorry, out of Yarrow. Dinojan himself is also very, very low, and look at the dominance the Portsmouth Pirates have in this 5th game. They want their 5th title, and they are so very close to doing it if they can continue this surge.
And with the Glacial Fissure not finding too many people, with Regan going down that early, there isn't too much you can do. You can't shred through the Swain yet, because this is something that we see Chiruzo and Yarrow. Now we see the Rageblade, and imagine if that was already done there. The Plasma Stacks can actually get through T. It was just a little bit too early. There was no real damage on Dinovan available yet. And the London Lionhearts, they're still in this game. They're clinging on. They're holding on for dear life. This goal disadvantage is still manageable, but the Portsmouth Pirates are playing it excellently. They are forcing things here. They're looking for these picks. They're punishing Regan and Trulodon, stepping forward just a little bit too much. It's not done yet, and it's not anywhere near done, but if they do this 1 or 2 more times, I think the Pirates are going to regain the tempo that we saw in game number 1, albeit with a slightly less bigger lead. And we're going to see the London Lionhearts crumble, but I don't want to see that. I want to see this game continue for 10 more minutes as the Pinks start going down at Baron, and the Portsmouth Pirates want to start and close out this game.
Yes, Regan got caught twice in her own quick succession, but it's sort of understandable. So much vision needs to be gained in the red side jungle of the London Lionhearts right now because of the threat of this Baron. And Regan literally had to be there trying to get the vision for his team. Now we do see the defensive control wards coming in from the London Lionhearts as they at least try to give a little bit more of an opportunity for Braum to step in, get some vision towards the Baron. They've got the 1 control ward, but that's immediately going to be cleared out by the Shaven Tortoise. And once again, blindness around the Baron pit for the London Lionhearts.
And barring any really big team fights, neither of these teams are going to have an easy time shoving in. The Sivir, of course, it's a little bit easier for, as Dinogen needs to be mindful. Can't afford to get 1v1'd here.
He uses the blood pool. Looks like it wants to try and take the fight. Sejuani might be coming along, but it's actually T who's taking considerably more damage than Dinojan. He's got the Hex Tech completed. He's got himself that Fiendish Codex and a needlessly large rod as well. Does have a good amount of damage, but it still feels like he's not going to 1v1 a Swain that's 4-1-0 with a Zonya's a fully stacked Rod of Ages. That Cloud Dragon we alluded to earlier has now been secured by the Portsmouth Pirates, who get themselves a 3rd dragon, and we will get at least 1, if not 2 more dragons before an Elder comes onto the Rift.
And this is fine. As the Lionhearts, this is the best case scenario. Literally, I think there's no better dragon on a Cloud Dragon. You just give up for free at this point in stage of the game. And be mindful of the fact that, like, both these 2 teams have amazing wave clear, which is why we see the mid lane turret still standing. Chiruzu, he apparently doesn't die. It's not a thing that he does in games. He just stays alive.
He must have a phenomenal KDA across the series.
Yeah, I want to go back. Afterwards, I want to like really delve into the series because there's so many interesting decisions being made everywhere. And Rhydona says, well, I'm just going to stop hitting your turret. I don't care, there's not a wave. And Chiruzu, because he's the one with the amazing wave clear. Oh no, a little bit of damage on Divin is there, and this might be it for this mid lane turret, and once they want to invest a lot, I don't think they will, and this is the unfortunate truth. If Chiruzu isn't there, if Yarrow isn't there, waves can be pushed in really quickly. There's a lot of upfront damage. There's 4 turrets down though, and a lot of the gold advantage that we see here is in those turrets, because not a single one has been taken for the London Lionhearts. And once that ambient gold starts dropping...
Exactly. Yeah, so much standing gold. Is all I was going to say. It's just, echoing the exact sentiments that you're saying there, Chronically. You have hit the nail on the head.
In sync.
It's more me just copying what you're saying, like
so
the jokes the other day.
Who would you be if we were in sync? Because everyone wants to be Justin Timberlake, right?
I think I'm Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, fair. Do you rock your body?
Like a Malphite?
Body. Yeah. That would be a pick, a sight to behold, but unfortunately we haven't seen the big rock here yet. Big item spikes on the horizon for the Lionhearts. Double Rabadon's Death Cap. Yarrow, once again, I think he's gone there for like almost every game we've seen thus far, goes for the Hex Drinker here. And we see the bait being set up here. Regan and Trudadorn looking for someone to engage on Chiruzu, who's hit level 16 already. How is he... Look at the... never mind, see the amount of farming, like, oh yeah, okay, that actually makes
That's what
sense.
286 CS at 26 minutes will do to you.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to reach a break point, because you might look at the gold and say, okay, this is all fine and dandy, and I think that if a team fight were to break out right now, the Portsmouth Forest would win. But once these items are finished, if we have double Death Cap for Dino-Jan and Chiruzu, I'm not so sure anymore. I think they might actually be able to chew it through, and there's a lot of MR being itemised by the Portsmouth Forest. They know what the threats are here. Is it going to be enough or no? I think if you get caught in the Baron Pit, it definitely isn't, and we see the pinks going down there, as it's another Cloud Dragon, and the London Lionhearts are gotta be so incredibly happy with that, because two Cloud
is
Dragons,
smiling on them today.
you give up any time of the day.
They should go play some Dungeon Dragons after this, because they're going to get all the perfect rolls.
Yeah, just nat 20s every single time, man.
Alright, Baron Vision is well and truly secured by the side of the Portsmouth Pirates. Look at how much they own the river there on the top side of the map. The two control wards completely spotting out anything that London Lionhearts might try to put down.
And after a bit of an increase in pace in the, say, 15 to 20 minute mark, we've now seen both teams kind of resign to the fact that this is going to be another long game.
Stop killing Kakoma! I love the Kakoma ward. Meanwhile, T is looking for an engage onto Dino-Jan. This is a really, really close battle. No, it isn't. T uses the Zonias. It's not enough. Massive shutdown gold goes over to the Vladimir.
Remember when I said there comes a point where Dino-Jan is just going to absolutely shred for T?
Was it that time there?
It's now.
Yeah.
That time has come now. You can't 1v1 against the Vlad anymore, I think, at this point.
37
really
seconds of 5 versus 4 power play.
It's the Rabadons. There's double Rabadons now, and I think that the timing window has passed for the Portsmouth Pirates. T gets taken down, and this is where we're going to see the turrets start dropping.
I want to see something happen though. This is 5 versus 4 for another 20 seconds. T will have the teleport when he comes back in. So in roughly 25 seconds time, he will be able to join a fight. But it's the side of the Portsmouth Pirates who are being proactive. They chase onto Trudadorn. No re-engage coming in from the Lionhearts, and it feels like they're missing an opportunity. Yes, they're getting a dragon. Yes, they're getting some vision back, but they could have done so much more. As we see Shaven Tortoise sped up, forcing the flash out of Regan, jumping on him with the Cataclysm. Yarrow's going there so that Regan can jump to safety, but the taunt is going to land onto the Kaiser instead. So very low on health. Yarrow dashing to safety, trying to throw the plasma down. We're going to see Rhydona picking 1 kill onto Regan, the 1-0 in favour of the Portsmouth Pirates, and now the teleporting Swain has arrived. That's going to be a Sundisk put down, trying to zone off the side of the Portsmouth Pirates a little bit, but the 4 remaining members of the London Lionhearts are forced back to their base, and now the 5 members strong of the Portsmouth Pirates will take their opportunity with the power play to break open the base.
Chiruzu is still incredibly strong and has the Emperor's Divide available, so that might not be enough, but Dino-Jan gets stunned and gets engaged, so uses the pool,
incredible
and that is the
heal he
red
had
turret
there.
going down.
That is going to be Inhibitor dropping in just a couple of moments. If a couple more hits
The re-engage
can come through,
coming in, though.
it's going to be Trudadorn looking potentially for his ultimate. No, sorry, that is on cooldown, so there's no Glacial Prison coming in today. Let's see whether or not Shaven Tortoise and the rest of his team can get these final couple of hits. The Inhibitor drops down, and now this game has been opened up in a big way by the Portsmouth Pirates. That was the fight they wanted. They've got themselves the lead. The third Cloud Dragon of the game is now on the Rift, but it's not of any interest to the Pirates, who just take themselves all of the red side jungle on their way out. Now T looks for the re-engage. He manages to catch out 3 members. The Demonic Ascension is thrown down. Look at the jump in. T picks up the kill onto Yaron with the Kaiser gone. I'm not sure if there's any damage. Dino-Jan is caught out as well. We've got the Resurrection, the Guardian's Angel. But look at all the damage Chiruzu's putting down. That's going to be 2 kills. It's going to be more damage yet. But Shaven Tortoise stops it in his tracks. T lives. Divinus lives. Shaven Tortoise lives. And now with death timers on every single member of the London Lionhearts, the Portsmouth Pirates are going to be straight out able to try and end the game. 1 Nexus turret is going to fall. Have they got the damage? 15 seconds still remaining on Yarrow. Let's see whether or not this minion wave is enough. Will they decide to go for it? I don't think they can. Divinus taking turret shots. Yarrow is alive in 4 seconds, and we've got ourselves a goddamn pause!
Well,
No more pauses in this series, please!
is this where we get the is this where we get the remake?
Don't you freaking dare!
Is this where we get the remake? Incredible. So let's break down the course of events there for a little bit, because we gotta calm down a little bit after what might have been one of the most insane clutch team fights I've ever seen. It's so long. I'm surprised you still have a voice, Dan. So let's take it through it. So first off, we have a hard engagement on top of a team that doesn't really want to fight. Vladimir isn't anywhere near, and it's fine if you commit to letting him split push. But if he wants to be there and there's no Hemo Plague available, he needs to be there right away or not at all. That call is a little bit muddied. The communication isn't clear. They try to go in, and there's a hard engagement Trudadon. Yes, he's not your optimal target, but with Regan also getting tagged, they are going in super deep from the side of the Portsmouth Pirates. Then we see a follow-up fight where they're barely able to stay alive. The Pirates, 5 men strong, are able to make their way into the base, and we do see it go down. Afterwards, as soon as that inhibitor almost falls, they get pushed back just a little bit, and play will resume here as T, Divinus and Shaven Tortoise haven't quite clinched the victory yet. And even though the London Lions have an amazing team fight, if they make one more call like that, this game is over.
Chirutsu just died for the first time in what seems like a generation.
I thought he was going to get a penta.
I honestly thought there was a real chance, but Shaven Tortoise with that flag and drag, that was so critical. But if Chirutsu hadn't taken down the members he did, we would be sitting here right now telling you about how the Portsmouth Pirates had their 5th championship. They are close. They've taken down a Nexus turret. They've still got that inhibitor down. They have masses of pressure, but it's not over yet.
I'd also like to draw attention to the fact that this is objectively the worst inhibitor that you can get as the Portsmouth Pirates, because it is the top lane inhibitor. It's still going to provide a lot of pressure, but it does not mean that the London Lions, even with a 6k goal deficit, are out of this game. The team fight is absolutely devastating, and perhaps even more importantly, you need to get this Baron, or you need to get a really good team fight like the one we just saw. Jero was able to get, or rather got blown up there at the beginning of the fight, so he's not been able to do the big amount of damage that we're used to seeing from him.
He's 0 and 2. He's 2 completed items.
It's just not doing that much. Meanwhile, Rodona,
3 completed items and a Hex Drinker.
Exactly, not always having the greatest of games, but here he's making it work. The London Lionhearts are with their back against the wall. They have a composition that can clinch that out, but the Portsmouth Pirates are looking to be the favourites to take it here in the final game. But let's not forget the previous Arena Clash finals. The Portsmouth Pirates, it was 2-2. They were up a Baron, they were up 10k. And they still weren't able to clinch it out. Now this time it's a different comp, it's a different meta, it's a different team. But you gotta wonder what's going through the head of these players as the dragon that no one really likes gets taken.
Whoa, you leave Aero alone.
Is he your favourite dragon, Greyheart?
He's no one's favourite dragon.
No, he isn't.
Albi's my favourite dragon.
I understand. I gotta say, you know, when it comes to dragons, I'm personally a big fan of. Actually, I think about it. I'm more of a wyvern kind of guy.
Oh,
yeah. Love me some two-legged dragons. I think, you know, all dragons are way too mainstream.
Baron has been started up by the Portsmouth Pirates. There is a vision on this from the London Lionhearts. I expect to see a disengage immediately. The damage going to be turned onto Trudadon, but he's so very tanky. So is Shaven Tortoise, who goes to the Cataclysm, but Chirutsu had already dashed to safety. A big ultimate now missing for Shaven Tortoise, who is going to find himself stunned up, knocked up into the air, and with the jungler in trouble, this could be just what the London Lionhearts need. Look at the damage Chirutsu's able to put down. Not anymore, he's not, because T's absolutely taken him off the face of the rift. Trudadon is dashing back in, trying to get the lockdown, but might give up his life. Instead, Braum is able to save him. The double kill for the support. That is going to be Regan coming up, huge for his team, courtesy of the Ignite, and now a 4 versus 3 is going to play out with the jungler dead for the Portsmouth Pirates.
And all that this really means, if Dynagen doesn't get killed here, which he really shouldn't, is that a lot of stuff is used, but the pace of the game is slowed down. We see the ping still going down, but they can't take this right now. The top wave is getting pushed back once again, and this is where it starts to get scary for the Portsmouth Pirates. Chirutsu being killed there out from the get-go is intensely important, and it's really T who has been doing so much consistent damage in this game, has been able to continuously get this big burst damage out and find these picks, and he's going to continue doing that. The death cap is going to be huge on him as Dynagens take a lot of damage here, and he needs to be careful.
He's pulling away, having to use his Hex Tech to get away from those boomerangs. Does this tale of the Belong Arena Clash final, of the whole Belong Arena Clash season, have one more twist in it? The London Lionhearts would certainly want you to believe so, but the Portsmouth Pirates are looking so good at controlling the vision around the Baron buff. This time it started up and there is no vision. That ward at the back of the pit is completely disabled. Let's see whether or not the London Lionhearts can find their way in. This time some vision is put in. Now we know the Baron is definitely going on, say the London Lionhearts. They start to shift members over here. T, who does not quite have his teleport available, is going to start walking up towards the rest of his team. The Baron has been backed off from the Portsmouth Pirates, playing it safe, playing it careful, but now the London Lionhearts have that slight advantage because their inhibitor has respawned in the top lane.
We're going to see the Elder Dragon spawn soon, and that is going to be a legitimate win condition for the Portsmouth Pirates. Even with 2 Cloud Dragons, that Elder Drake is going to give them such a big buff in terms of combat capabilities, and it is there where I think that as the game is going to continue, they're going to have a harder and harder time against the London Lionhearts. Now T is still incredibly tanky, and look at the Charu's itemization here. There's so much magic resist from Shaven Tortoise, from T, but instead of going for something a little bit more shreddy, they opt to go for a Banshee's Veil here, so Charus is going to be safer. If he can survive the upfront burst, his continuous damage in this fight is going to be absurd. We see Yarrow finish the Maw of Mormortius, the Knight's Vow of Reagan. We're approaching endgame here, Greyheart, and at 35 minutes, that 4k gold lead really doesn't mean as much. It's one team fight away for the Portsmouth Pirates for the win. The London Lionhearts, they're going to need just a little bit more because the base has barely been reached for them.
But at 36 minutes, you know, at endgame, one click from Thanos could mean the end of the game, regardless of who wins a fight. Dino Jan trying to get some of his health back, but T is so very strong. He hasn't even used the Demonic Ascension for... Actually, sorry, that was him in his Demonic Ascension for able to do so much. Dino Jan using his ultimate as well, just getting himself to safety, a little bit of extra health gained. Now let's see whether or not the Portsmouth Pirates can use this pressure they're putting onto Vladimir to find themselves some opportunities across the map.
They've had really good vision, but because they're not really putting pressure on any of the other lanes, it's been really hard for them to make it work and actually find a moment for this Baron. They're continuously looking for engages, but it feels like the London Lions have started to adapt to that and aren't caught as easily, and when they are found, they're able to make it work regardless. The Grievous Wounds is so big here because it allows Downagen to not really regen anymore, which is what you would traditionally see. It's working out great for Swainer in the 1v1, and it's because of the lead that he was able to build up, even with that first block going over. Now we're approaching 40 minutes. Both of these two teams have not picked up the single first Baron yet, and it is incredibly tense here as we see the constant shove coming out from Rhydon as yet another turret is picked up. But don't be mistaken, a single team fight, 1 or 2 turrets dropping, and the London Lionhearts are back in this.
So many mistakes have been made from Barons being started up in this series, so many mistakes from fights wrongly taken around the Baron buff that neither team wants to make that critical error. The ultimate is crucially going to land on the Rhydon, spell shielding the rest of the incoming damage. The ultimate is down from Sejuani. Now we are going to see the attention once more from the Portsmouth Pirates going over towards the Baron. Again, there is no vision in this for the London Lionhearts. They will have to find their way through a heavily warded red side jungle, and so far they're not even thinking about it. It looks like they're instead going to try and trade for an Elder Dragon. This is going to be the Baron secured by the Portsmouth Pirates. The London Lionhearts are at the Dragon. They're starting it up. It will not be down quite as quickly as the Portsmouth Pirates knock this one down, but I don't believe there's any chance that it's going to get contested. Yarrow ripping through it with that Rage Blade. The recall timers will be quicker for the Pirates if they decide to go back. Instead, they go straight up to the top lane. How much can they push onto this inhibitor before the delayed recalls of the London Lionhearts come in?
This might be the final team fight. The London Lions don't find the win here, and instead I'm ramping up to it, and the Portsmouth Pirates said no, we're going to back first, we're going to spend
Rightly so.
We're going to buy elixirs. I want to see elixirs from every single person on this team.
387 CS on Chirutsu, by the way.
Incredible. We're starting to...
What a monster he's been.
Well, Rhydona is also the 6-item Sivir Dream is approached, meaning that his Boomerang Blades are going to do an absolute truckload of damage, and I'm going to be looking at Charuza and Dinogen. A big man Hemo Plague or a big Emperor's Divide is what they need. If they can get those, if they can match that together, they're going to be fine, but it's looking increasingly difficult for them. They have the Dragon buff, so they should be able to win a team fight at least in terms of combat stats, but Rhydona now has the GA, has the Zillion ulti, Dinogen off pushing on his own.
In the last 2 games, the Portsmouth Pirates have shown a patience that I never knew they had, and now patience is key because they don't want to take a fight in the next couple of moments. The Elder Dragon will time out before the Baron buff does, and that means that the Lionhearts, who are currently trying to push this wave in the bottom with Dinojan, trying to get some of that standing gold into their pocket, they want the fight right now. The Portsmouth Pirates, they just have to wait until that buff is gone, push up then with their Baron, and get that exposed inhibitor.
And I think that Dinogen thought that the fight might be happening, doesn't want to use his teleport. Not aware of the fact that he was in fact back there. A couple of autos would have gone that turret, but now one more push and you will be able to get it regardless. Teleport's available for both these top laners, and the Baron buff, of course, is going to run up just a little bit, or a little bit longer rather, than the Elder Dragon buff, which we just saw evaporate. And also London Lionhearts, they don't really have a lot going on for them at the moment.
You can see the Hemo Plague thrown down, Dinojan chasing onto T. Demonic Ascension has been triggered, the pool is used, and both the ultimates are now down for the top laners. The difference, however, is that Dinojan is getting collapsed on with Jarvan and Galio both find their way down the river. Dinojan does get himself to safety. The enhanced recall there for the Swain, who of course has the teleport available. He'll be able to join his team just that much quicker if a fight is to break out.
I feel like this is going to be a 45-minute game that's going to be decided by one single team fight, because if either team gets a decisive lead here, even with how far ahead the Portsmouth Pirates are in terms of how much of the base they've broken down, it's going to be impossible to hold, because the pressure from them and the amount of speed with which it can take the turrets is going to be so hard to deal with. Chiruzu needs to come up big. All the items are available now. We see a lot of Morello Nomicons. We're seeing the Grievous Wounds on the 4 mil as well, and we can't afford to see anyone get caught here as they make their way. And there's the hard engage.
The Cataclysm onto Yarrow, flashing away, trying to throw the plasma down, but still not able to shred through Shaven Tortoise. Trulodon is on the wrong side of this fight, getting pulled down. Not as tanky as Jarvan was. Nice decision making from Trulodon, keeping him safe for now. Burning down, but getting to safety. The Elder Dragon has expired. The Baron buff has not, and the advantage is in the Portsmouth Pirates court.
There's no wave though yet, and if Trulodon can quickly make his way back onto this fight, they might be able to hold on, but I don't know if they can hold this inhibitor, and we might be having our hands on the final team fight here. The turret gets pushed.
The second inhibitor turret has now dropped for the London Lionhearts. Portsmouth Pirates looking to crack that inhibitor, but it's not gone down yet. No super minions. One more hit from that cannon might just do it, but it's going to drop down. An inhibitor has now fallen. Super minions will have to be dealt with by the London Lionhearts for sure in one lane, perhaps in 2 lanes if the Portsmouth Pirates are to have their way.
Tournament challenge is on the live here. They need to make it work. 2 inhibitors go down, and the Portsmouth Pirates say, we're not going to take any risks.
They got everything they needed from that Baron buff.
Pick up 2 inhibitors. The Lionhearts are going to be stuck in their base. But what is telling here to me is we still haven't seen a true 5v5 here actually played to completion. It hasn't come to fruition yet. And that means that I'm still not certain whether or not the Portsmouth Pirates are going to, because they're at a big gold lead. I think these inhibitors are key, but they're not going to synchronize well with any of the big global objectives coming up. And then you can wonder, what you can actually see happen in these long games where everyone starts to approach 6 items, is that the super means are actually really annoying for you, because you can just freely farm up while you don't really have the opportunity to get gold yourself as the Portsmouth Pirates, because the supers are going to be pushing in. You're going to be losing a lot of global golds, and we're approaching endgame starters. I've said it before, but now we're actually getting really close as 6 items on Chiruzu. 5 items on Yarrow, who's going to probably be gilding a Guardian Angel himself as well. And we know these players are capable of great things. The Portsmouth Pirates, they're in the lead, specifically in terms of how far they've been able to crack the base thus far. But the Baron buff, after the 2 inhibitors, they're going to pick up a Dragoneer as well. But this gold lead, this means absolutely nothing.
Here we go. The final inner turret that remains in the London Lionhearts base is now under siege. Of course, there is no Baron buff for the Portsmouth Pirates, and while they themselves have a lot of wave clear, the London Lionhearts are currently able to defend that final structure that is standing between the Portsmouth Pirates and the final inhibitor turret.
And the Sejuani once again looking for a place so tanky that she can actually take a big beating. But look also how Goldstaff Trulodon is compared to the rest of his team, and that's just the fate of the Sejuani in a game like this. Not giving anything, you can never hold this inner. It's about that final inhibitor for the London Lionhearts.
London Lionhearts have got to do something. They've depushed well these waves, but with the Elder Dragon coming up again, if they just give this over, there's no way they can defend.
And I might see another 50-50 split here, but this time 2 inhibitors are down and it looks like they won't respawn in time as one more wave of supers makes its way coming out of the base. And like you say, we need to see something forced here, and if they get caught, if we see the engagement on Yarrow here, all could go wrong for the Lionhearts.
He is looking to go forward instead. He's going to get himself caught out. He uses the stop. He's got the Zillion ult on top of him. Is easily going to be able to keep himself alive. No one has dropped in this chaotic fight so far. Yarrow getting a decent bit of damage down, finally managing to do some work with the Kaiser. Chirutsu has already managed to take down Shaven Tortoise. Now we see the flash forward as T is going to be the second to drop. A double kill for Chirutsu. Meanwhile, look at Rhydona shredding through Yarrow, trying to get Regan, but now here comes Truladorn. The next contender arrives. The next contender manages to take Rhydona down, and it's going to be a 3-for-1 for the London Lionhearts. They just got themselves their choice of the Baron or the Elder.
I can't believe that we saw both Yarrow and Regan go down there to Rhydona. The amount of damage coming out from him, absolutely insane. This is a greedy Baron here, and this might be a final fight if they get it done here. Chirutsu goes in big, and the amount of damage he does is absolutely insane. I don't think they can actually go for the Baron unless they get the kill in. They won't be able to, but look at the base. The supers are pushing hard, and no objective will be taken here. But there will be a kill there if they're not really careful.
Chirutsu now free hitting for days, uses the Emperor's Divide, but actually pushes Galio away and separates himself from Divinus, who using his ultimate manages to stay alive. A crucial survival for the Portsmouth Pirates. Nice. I said it was going to be a Baron or an Elder. In the end, it was neither, and it almost a Nexus turret falling for the London Lionhearts. They've won a fight, but can they do it again?
I want to see a Wormwox as soon as we can on Truladorn, because we keep getting into these situations, and this is what we talk about.
They do lose the Nexus turret.
They do. No, the one was already dropped.
I knew that.
Got that before. There's only a single one. The inhibitors will respawn soon. There's one more wave of supers coming in, I think, and then they should be back up here as we see the pressure coming down. 2 go objectives available. Truladorn has to back here. He doesn't have to sustain.
He's not going to.
But he's not going to. He doesn't see an opportunity here to do so. He can't afford to give the Baron over here, and this is a terrible situation to be in, and either we're going to see a 4v5 engage or they need to give up this Baron.
Truladorn's recall does not complete. He's hung around knowing just how crucial this is, and that's going to be enough for the Portsmouth Pirates. They decide to back away from the Baron. Now Sejuani is going to complete that recall. I'm not entirely sure whether or not there is vision of this. Look at those 2 inhibitors. They will be respawning shortly. Truladorn completes the back. I'm not entirely sure. I think that vision ward just at the last second saw the last bit of the recall coming in from Truladorn, and that means the Portsmouth Pirates fully commit. This has got to be a miracle still of Chirutsu's to get this one. It's not going to happen. Swain, of all people, gets the crucial Baron. The Elder Dragon, of course, is still up, and that's where the London Lionhearts are going.
And this is such a big risk, because I think they can just get pushed in and die.
Oh, there's no way they're not going to contest.
They're going to bait it. They're going to bait it!
Swain is going for the teleport, but what a bait is coming in! This is the fight the London Lionhearts needed. Can Yarrow get the damage down? Massive knock-up onto 2, coming in from the Gargoyles ult. Now let's see if the Redemption's enough to keep the London Lionhearts alive. Swain is on the backside. Oliver's very, very, very low, but Dino Jan is having to use the goal to Zonia to keep himself alive. Manages to pick up the kill on to the Galio, but look at Swain. T in the background. The Cataclysm onto T. Regan is going to drop. He's stuck. It's the ace. It's the game. It's the title for the Portsmouth Pirates. They are 5-time champions of Belong Arena Clash. They are going to walk straight up to this inhibitor, crush it for the second time this game. They don't even need to, because there's still one down the top lane. The final Nexus turret falls. The Nexus is going to be the next target. No chance on the death timers. Portsmouth Pirates are your Belong Arena Clash spring champions for 2019.
And what a performance from the London Lionhearts here, coming into this series, losing the first game 20-0, but what a win from the Portsmouth Pirates in a 45-minute slugfest. They're eventually able to find a way into a perfect team fight. 4 people trying to occupy Dino Jan, and this was T's game, because he single-handedly, with that flank, was able to, I think, pick off one person, keep another person down as well. And I was talking about the late game of the Swain, but there was no problem here. T played that matchup so incredibly well, and I thought that with Chirutsu falling there, it was going to be over. I love the bait that they were able to set up, and I thought that there was going to be enough, but the teleport from T rather, completely able to turn that fight around. It was an all or nothing play with the Baron already giving up, and what a series unbelievable. I need to recover for the rest of the weekend from this. There's not a lot of weekend left, unfortunately.
It's not like we've got a best of 5 final tonight.
So
don't worry about that.
This series feels like it's taken the entire weekend, if I'm quite honest. But what an ending. A 3-2 grueling victory, and the Portsmouth Forest got to be so happy, because the last time it was a 3-2 grueling victory, it wasn't for them.
A best of 5 series spanning over 16 hours from beginning to end, and very little sleep in between, I will tell you. Certainly for myself and Chronicler. At the end of the day, the London Lionhearts, they proved themselves to be Kingslayers in the semi-finals, but they could not kill the giants that are the Portsmouth Pirates. They are once again your Belong Arena Clash champions. I'm really hopeful that we're going to get to be able to have a small interview with a couple of the players. But for now, we're going to take you to a short break as we just take some breaths to try and recover from what has been one of the most phenomenal Belong Arena Clash finals ever seen.
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for staying with us through one of the most gruelling and intense finals we've ever had at the Oblong Arena Clash. Not just for the players, but also the casters. Guys, I will give you a breather, but please do pitch in as we go along. Portsmouth Pirates, I mean, please just first sum up how mentally challenging that final has been from start to finish.
Well, it's good I'm talking then, because I almost left after the Force game. Yeah, I mean, I know they couldn't really do much with the kind of issues that happened, but we felt really kind of demoralised when we come out really strong in that first game, and then we had that really long break where things went wrong. So we kind of felt like we lost our momentum there. And then we got 2 good leads in our other games to have other things happen that we felt like we lost a lot of our momentum, and a lot of what we wanted to do got kind of backhanded by it. However, Lionhearts did do really well, like that in the Varus game. He played really well. We couldn't get on him. He made Alistair ult look like paper.
Yaro had a great series.
So yeah, he played really well.
So
he should have with the amount he thought.
I wanted to ask about, like, what is your guys' definition of a quick 3-0? Because I think in
16
total,
hours?
In total, this series took about 16 hours.
Yeah. I don't think anyone could have seen this coming, but definitely wasn't the quick 3-0 that we were hoping for. Yeah,
it was a really good series, like, deserved victory as well.
Yeah.
Did you have any demons in your head from last season? Because obviously you guys were looking so dominant. Your opponents came back. You know, it must have been an absolute heartbreaker. Things just didn't seem to be going right, and every time you took a lead, even in that game, there were moments when London looked like they were going to try and pull you back. Did you have a demons in your head saying, "Please don't do this again"?
I didn't play last year actually, but I know from talking to the team again that they were very, very disheartened by the 2-3, but they had their reasons. They blamed Riot for Dark Harvest and things like that. So I think their mentals weren't too bad because they didn't feel like they got outplayed. They blamed that, but I watched it and they sucked. So when in those fights, like we were getting late game, which we kind of wanted, but at the same time that the Azir was pumping out so much damage in those games. Like I spent the entire comms just saying like, I'm really scared of Azir. Let's please not walk into him. And then Divinus decided to try and face check him at Baron and stuff, and I would jump in and die. But
I love how you're really easy at calling out. I also thought that the Swain, because it's more in-game, kind of an in-depth game thing, but I thought the Swain would have a harder time, but then you got such a big lead early that you were just able to ride it out, and like that flank at the final fight was absurd, because I think that might single-handedly won the team fight with Dynagen also going in, like trying to kill 4 people on the zone.
Yeah, so it is really good at flanking. It's like, I love it when he gets behind them. That's why we like the Jax and things like that, because even I don't know how he does it. He makes Jax like a team fighter. Like you saw in the last game where you got that 3-man stun in the last bit and things like that. The Swain pick's really interesting because we weren't sure how it went into the Vladimir, but from my understanding as a support, we like the fact that he had Klepto as well, so obviously Vlad wants to scale up, but you're getting free gold and stuff throughout the lane, so you're also scaling at a kind of faster pace than him. And Swain turned from a flex pick into a top pick very quickly after the third game. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out really well for you, because when there's only like the beefy front line, but also got a lot of damage. We can hear the other players, but I think from what I've been told, that's a good thing.
That was the problem with the game where the Varus popped off. That kind of we felt lost on momentum. He kind of was picking up kills here and there, so he didn't really feel like he was getting really strong. But then having the Alistair as like a sole frontliner, he just absolutely tore through me, and then like a Nidalee jumping into him is just over. And the Braum Varus Sejuani combo is just insane. Like if they wanted to kill us in bot, we were dead.
So going back to sort of the pause that we had last night, because it was instrumental in the series. I mean, you know, it's been absolutely crazy to cast all the way through this. I mean, we've talked already about the frustrations you had in regards to some of the remakes and the advantages you feel you had. You know, the potential for remakes being offered or not being offered. But outside of that, what did it feel like for you? Because for us as casters, you know, obviously we just have to do a bit of talking. The production team, I know it was really tough for them backstage trying to sort out all the problems that we had. But you're basically stuck on a stage, sitting around. At least you've got the ability to talk to each other, unlike in the LCS where comms are off. But what's that like? I mean, I think it was, you know, a 2 and a bit hour period where essentially no gaming was happening. Yeah,
so we felt really kind of, as I said, we felt like we lost our momentum during that period, which kind of sucked. But it didn't feel too bad. It was really upsetting in the game of the Kindred. Had like 2 stacks early. Got first blood. He burnt flash. I keep saying it, and I was tilted. I was out CSing a Vayne as Taric in the Sona Taric lane, and then that didn't happen. It felt like they got to kind of like revise the lane and kind of, because I felt like the potency of the pick was that it caught them off guard. They weren't expecting the Sona Taric because they were playing so passive in lane. They didn't know what to do. And then having a remake, they then learnt a bit more. They kind of went, okay, we're ready for this. And then they had a whole night to kind of dwell on it, which I don't want to take away from Lionhearts because they did play really well. I'm not trying to discredit them and say this was solely due to that. However, it did feel like it really kind of ruined a lot of the potency of the pick.
To be fair, I think that especially like even in the second game, they were able to, even in the final game, I feel like they always had a shot at winning a team fight, and then eventually, as you say, the flanks, just the experience from you guys in terms of shot calling did come through.
But what is your thoughts on like the entirety of like the final? So it's a 3-2. Obviously, you guys are happy that you won. Like that's an easy one. But because I think that me personally, until I talked to the Lionhearts, I was not expecting this big of a performance from them. And for me, they're really like, because everyone comes in when they come into Arena Clash, like I don't know anything because not from anywhere near you guys or any of the events happening. And you talk about the Portsmouth Pirates, you talk about the Clyde Claymores, but no one ever mentioned the Lionhearts to me. And how was that for you guys to just come up against a team that just kind of comes out of nowhere?
So it's interesting because they were the only team in the entirety of until the finals that had taken a game off us. They were in our group. We won the series 2-1. It went 1-1-1. And at the time, it was kind of we hadn't really been playing too much. Like our draft sucked. We weren't too sure whether are these guys like actually that much better than us. Because in the first game we stomped them, then they absolutely like railed us in the second game, and then in the third
something
game,
about a Vigar Pike, if I remember correctly.
we played Vigar Pike pot lane, and right as I locked it in, I just went, "Why are we doing this?" Like, yeah, someone wants to kill someone wants to farm. It was absolutely useless. Their support just got to run over me the entire game. But no, so we knew they were going to be a good team. We definitely, I always try and like drill in that we don't want to kind of discredit a different team because we don't want to go in with a kind of we're going to 3-0 this mentality because it kind of you can end up making easy mistakes like that. But we felt like our macro was a lot better than theirs, in my opinion. There was a lot of times, even when they're winning games, where they really struggled around Baron. They were trying to bait us into it, but they were trying to take it, and they just kept chunking themselves out and things like that. But in terms of individual players, I really, because not to kind of flame anyone, but in a lot of teams, there tends to be like a player or so where you go, okay, you're a weak spot. Like
it's usually me and my team.
Yeah, it's definitely you.
Yeah, it's me and
especially
like you. It's like this is something we're gonna abuse. Like so their top sucks or something. But Lionhearts is like no, all their team can do stuff. And both our teams, which I think makes for quite an interesting series. A lot of the time in Arena Clash, you have one tricks, so you tend to ban out a one trick.
They're really excited for you having got the win.
There you go. A lot of the time you can ban out a one trick and then go, okay, you're off something. But you look at all like the OP.GGs and stuff, and they're like nothing they really play apart from Thresh, but he plays loads of champs. But there's nothing they really play that's like, okay, this is the only thing they can play. So it makes for like really interesting drafts and things like that.
Because the series really progressed as well. Because there was, emerging strategies.
The shift in bans was really great to watch.
Exactly. Because I thought what you guys also very clearly did, starting from game number 4, was that you really pivoted towards identifying, as you say, that they were not as strong as macro as they might think, and then pivot to a more late game style. Because I mean, the Sivir pick, like twice you got to hit a power spike and then just.
I thought he was inting in that fight.
Well,
I saw him run off into the back line, and I just went, "Oh, that's game." But no, he played really well. Yeah, no, we realised that if we just play around objectives, like even in that game with the Azir and stuff, we just kept saying, "Do not force a fight." If we just keep baiting them to come into Barons, they're going to panic. Like I don't know if the Observer does it, but if you look at the top side at one point, it's just our pinks everywhere.
Yep.
They couldn't walk into their top side jungle. They had no info, and that's how we got the pick on Braum just by the pick, because they have to walk in to try and get some vision.
Yeah, there's
nothing
can't. Else for them to do.
Yeah.
Finally, looking around here, it's a completely different experience to being on stage. The atmosphere is a lot warmer. You're really in the midst of it. But when I went out and interviewed you guys before your game, you were so placid. You've done it before as a team, various different seasons. You've been there a million years. And then when I looked at the London Lionhearts, they looked nervous. When you knew you were going to be back in the dark amongst everyone else and not back on stage, did you think, that's an edge we've lost now because we had that experience?
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because part of you, like the adrenaline of playing on stage and things like that, is really kind of like I love it, like playing on stage, and I'm sure the others do as well. But there's almost, it sounds weird, it's always something homely about playing in the dark, just like in a corner, like the top laner wearing his dressing gown through the games, because he says he plays at home in his dressing gown all the time and things like that. So
that's how we all got good at it. Why not?
Yeah, so it was bittersweet. I think that's like. We came out strong, and I really wish we could have kept the momentum. However, I feel like it was definitely maybe some stage nerves from them that meant we could just run them over. Like there were some mistakes that they just didn't make for the rest of the series that they made in the first game.
Yeah.
So perhaps we had that edge at the start, and then after that edge was gone, especially after the pauses, I think they got to get used to it. So I think in that sense, playing on stage and playing down there almost became quite similar. Yeah.
I mean, you say they're about sort of the experience. Who are now the 5-time champions? Who's done it? Who's been in each of the teams?
So it's 4-1. 5, 4, 3.
So it's all because of Divinus, that's what you're saying?
Yes.
Excellent, good stuff.
He's the only one that turns up.
He'll be happy that someone's mentioned his name at last. Well, it's very, very deserved. And guys, please do take your headset off and stand up and take that trophy. You deserve your moment, despite not being on that big stage. We are so happy for you. And your name is back on that trophy. The Portsmouth Pirates. Go for it.
Hey.
Very well deserved indeed. And seeing the band back together one more time. Guys, I've enjoyed watching your casting so much.
Stand there, yeah. There we go.
And while this is all going on in front of us, we do have a few awards coming in from this split as well.
Yeah,
So it'd be great to be able to, to announce those. So we have ourselves the Fighting Spirit Award. Mal, do you want to announce who that's gone over to?
Oh, well, give these boys a little bit of a moment as they, look at that. And you got.
Oh, they found an angle. Oh my God, the production team is a sniper. That is a headshot. Boom.
Don't know how to be able to pull that off. Sorry, Ollie.
Go on.
Don't take away from the spotlight, guys. Come on.
That's amazing. I think we've just found a draft for next season's Overwatch.
Wait,
team,
guys,
team.
one of you guys is getting MVP. I want everyone back on the couch.
At least around the couch, just briefly.
Come back on for a moment, guys.
Oh, that's a spoiler. The MVP is going to one of these guys. Ooh.
I mean,
what a shock.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
So going back, we've got ourselves the Fighting Spirit Award, which we've decided to give to which team?
Fighting Spirit is going to the Manchester Swarm, because what they did, it wasn't necessarily what we wanted to see, but they gave it their all. And that is really what the Fighting Spirit is all about. It is being able to never give up fighting, even in the face of certain defeat.
And technical issues. Insomnia.
That's not for here. That's all right.
The second award that we have is going to be the Community Champion. And at the end of the day, a lot of votes were cast, and the Community Champion Award
goes to a fun day from the Clyde Claymores Challengers team. So again, we get a round of applause there. They were the ones who were able to actually beat the Portsmouth Pirates. I don't know if you guys watched their game where, team on mid and work out great. Yeah, it can happen to the best of us.
Certainly can. And speaking of the best of us, it's time to come on to the most highly prized, apart from the wonderful trophy itself, of course, and that is the MVP, not just for today's match, but of the whole split. All those things added together, what was our decision, Maritz?
It's got to be the one, the man, the Nidalee OTP that also plays other things. It's Shaven Tortoise. Yeah, give yourself a pat on the back. That's very nice. Got some teammates as well.
Just saying,
You can. So as MVP, do you want to say a few words?
Sorry. Yeah.
Because I was watching the Nidalee game and I saw you being 6-1 with a team fight. Nidalee, I was like.
Yeah, you saw the quadra. I was going for the penta, but my team are just so bad that it's like 1v9 every game. Like.
They've been holding you back, is what you're saying.
100%. If there were five of me on a team, I'd be in Masters by now. Like
that's how it goes.
They're a good team. Ish.
Congratulations, Shaven Tortoise. A well-earned award for you throughout the split. It's been absolutely fantastic, and been great fun to work with you, of course, Maritz. Gonna miss this for a while.
Yeah, me as well, and it's been really nice because that's always. I love the offline parts of these events. So let's just see a little kiss there.
Oh, wait, what? I hope not.
You'll have to rewatch the replay. You know what? I've loved everything about working with the Belong Arena Clash people, apart from those dreadful Tekken casters. Back to you, Stu.
Wow, he did it. He did it to me. I've just also got to say, I first watched you two cast together on Valentine's Day, and I've never seen such a sweet pairing as you two. You've been absolutely phenomenal. I've loved the hype, and you guys have also had to endure a grueling final as well. And just thank you so much for all the drama, all the hype, and I really do hope we see you two as a pairing again. I absolutely loved this series for League of Legends. I'm so happy to see the Portsmouth Pirates back on the podium, and I'm also happy to see the young pretenders, the London Lionhearts, just play so well, and I know they will be back next season.
I can't imagine that they can't, because for me they're really the breakout, because you guys winning, while really deserved, isn't that big of a surprise, because that was everyone was telling me since the very beginning of the split that was going to happen. But I want to see next season when the London Lions maybe get some more experience on that. But I guess a lot of the people from your team, like Ollie's not going to be there anymore.
Yeah, I might not be there either, so it's going to be a big new team. And plus every team is getting better every year. I'm saying this, like Lionhearts, Claymores, Cardiff, like all these teams are getting better every year, and we just started off really high skill and they're just catching up. So I'm just going to dip out whilst...
If you're looking for a new jungler, right here guys, don't worry.
Is he year one trick and silver?
Oh, he's not playing for us.
Nice call. I'm kidding.
That is what Grassroots Esports is all about. Thank you so much, guys. From the BYOC area, Insomnia 64, a different kind of final for the Portsmouth Pirates, but they still did it. Take care.